Oh yeah, come on, let's go. Boom, and we're live. David Goggins, your book is fucking fantastic, man. This has been my running partner. The audio version of it has been my running partner for the last week. It's fucking amazing, man.
Well, I appreciate that. Thank you.
Well, you guys are doing something very unusual. The book is great. I've read it, like sat down and read, but the audio book is really interesting.
Right.
Because you and the gentleman that you wrote it with.
Yeah, Adam.
Adam
Skolnick.
Adam Skolnick, who reads it, then you come on and talk about things in between. So it's more than just the book.
Right.
It's the book plus. It's the book plus like a podcast.
Right. Yeah, so how that came to be, man, is as I was going through this book for the last year, we would go through, change stuff up. I have so many stories, man. We went through, interviewed so many people, so many stories. He would come back and read it to me, all my changes. And when he read it, I'm like, man, this guy has a great reading voice. I love his reading voice. And I started getting these different ideas about doing it. Like, you know what? Maybe he can read and I can do my podcast thing on the side. And he can, like, after each chapter, in between chapters, make it real interactive type of thing. And that's kind of how it came to be, man.
At the beginning, I got to be honest. At the beginning, I was like, who is this motherfucker talking for David Goggins? I was going to call Dave. Like, Dave, can you redo this? Why don't you do it? Why are you? But it works.
Right.
It really does work.
Yeah.
Like as it goes on, and I got also, it's very obvious that you and him are good friends. So when you guys are talking, then I don't mind him reading for you as much for some strange reason.
Right.
I know it doesn't make any sense.
Well, I wouldn't say we're good friends. I'm just joking, Adam. I know you can hear me right now. He became a pain in my fucking ass during this process, man, because, you know, he's just he's a real anal guy. You know, he helped out a lot. You know, I'm a real raw, sadistic type of mindset, and he helped me put that on paper, man. So I give him a lot of credit for that.
Well, it comes across. The book is outstanding, and you know, it's more than just sitting across from you and you telling your story is one thing, but this long, detailed history of how you became to be the person you became. I think it's very educational for people because they can realize, like, oh, he wasn't always this guy. This is what's fucked up about people. Like, you see a guy who's like you who runs, I mean, how many ultra marathons did you run in a row? You ran some insane number.
I think it was, I ran 800s in 8 weekends in a row.
Just stop and think about that, ladies and gentlemen. 800s means 8 100-mile races. 8 weekends in a row. A 100-mile race will put you out for fucking 6 months. Right. You know, and you ran 8 of them, 8 weekends. It's a fucking insane accomplishment.
It was nuts.
You think about a person like that, you think of them as in this like static, fully formed version. Right. You don't usually get to see, and especially someone like you who you went into so much depth about your rise and fall and rise and fall. It wasn't like a straight linear process between you getting inspired and then you becoming this bad motherfucker.
No, it wasn't like what's that show called that Will Smith plays, that black guy who kind of makes it in the financial world. Pursuit of Happiness.
I never saw that.
Yeah, it's a great movie. It wasn't like Pursuit of Happiness, man. Like where the guy struggles and he gets over it and he makes it. Yeah. I fell on my ass. I thought I got to the top of Mount Everest, and Mount Everest just fucking slide right underneath me, man. I was like, God, dog, I got to start from scratch again. Scratch became my friend, literally, man. So, you know, that's how you put in the book, man. Just going up, going down, going up. Just a real raw version of how my life was. It was so in depth to go back through your life with a fine-tooth comb that I almost got embarrassed to even put it out there to people. Yeah. That's what you don't understand, man. Like, even me right now to talk to you, I'm in the car for a fucking hour getting pumped up because I'm a shy, introverted, leave me alone type of guy. Like, I'm still that motherfucker who is 6 years old, you know, at a play who can't say his line because I know I'm going to stutter in front of 5 people. So I walk off the stage. That's still me. So every day I'm fighting that dude. So people think, oh my God, man, you're on a podcast, you look so crazy, so evil. No, I'm trying to be locked into Joe. So my mind isn't very off saying, let's run out the damn door because people are watching me on the fucking podcast. I want to open this damn door and get the hell out of here, man. So that's the real me. So I'm not sadistic, man. I'm focused on what I have to do to stay locked into the game of life. And that's why I tell people, man, I go there. I go there.
That's one of the reasons why this book is so good, is because you're so honest about your vulnerabilities and how you overcome them. And for people that see someone who's a beast, who's done great things, you just assume that they're different than you.
Right.
But then you hear about your insecurities and your pitfalls and all the things that went wrong with you, and you realize, well, God damn it, those are the same things that go wrong with me. Like, maybe I have that inside of me and I've just never summoned it.
Right. And I'll tell you this, I started really realizing that when I started overcoming myself, I started getting around these real alpha males, these hard men. And I always put people way above me when I was growing up. Like, my God, they had to have a lot more than me to get to where they're at. And a lot of them did. But once you get around the best of the best of the best people, you can kind of start breaking them down and realizing, man, you're just as fucked up as me. Like we all have, but all you did was you hit it better. Your upbringing, your mom and dad, your society, the way you were raised, it hit it better than mine. You weren't the only black kid, or there was like 5 in a school. You know, I can't hide. Going through buds, I was the only black kid. You can't hide. But I started realizing, just because I look different than you, a lot of you motherfuckers can't hide either. So it started giving me courage through watching people that we all have a story. We all have a jacked up life in one way or another. Some of us don't have the guts to talk about it, though. And that's where I found the guts to talk about mine. Well,
there's purity in physical pursuits, right? Because it doesn't matter what your social status is. It doesn't matter how people perceive you. When it comes down to how long can you stay in that pool, when it comes down to how far can you run, right, when it comes down to how much can you push yourself past the part where you want to quit, right, how far can you keep going, there's a purity in that it dissolves social order, all that bullshit, what people think about you goes out the window. It's who are you right now?
That's right.
Who are you right now?
That's a true statement, man. And I look at it as psychological warfare. And that's where I started learning that life is one big psychological warfare that you play on yourself. You play on yourself, man. The most important conversation I ever had is with myself. And the shit I was telling myself was so fucked up. It was so wrong. It was so misguided. And other people start to write that dialogue for you also. And it starts to be what you say to yourself every single day. And I started creating a whole nother warfare. A whole nother battle started becoming. I was like, oh, hang on a second, Goggins. You have these tools. You have these tools. Your life was basically the perfect grounds for training for where you need to go in your life. All the beatings, all the bullying, all the, you going through learning disabilities, all the struggles. It was the absolute perfect training ground for you to go to where you need to go. And that's how I started looking at my life versus woe is me, poopy pants, kick a rock down the street mentality. It was, God just hooked you right the fuck up. He hooked you right up, man, with the perfect place. You were training for the first 18, 19, 20, you were training for this stuff, man. You have the advantage of everybody else versus, my God, they're so above me. They came from a great family. Mom and dad love them. They didn't stutter, they didn't struggle. No, man, your struggle is what made you who you are now. So I started flipping this into a whole different, I started being a master of what I was scared of. I was scared of my mind. And I became literally a master of that mind. And that's what from now on, it sets me apart from most people. I started diving into that.
Well, that is a big part of the story, is when you go over your childhood and, your abusive father, and then having this great guy that was going to become your stepdad, and then he gets murdered. It's like right when you're about to get out of it, everything looks good, boom, and then he gets murdered. It's like these things really did sort of set you up to start from scratch again and just go, okay, roger that, we start from scratch. Right. And now you have that attitude. You developed it through all of these horrible personal experiences, all the trials and tribulations, all the evil shit that people try to do to you. That sort of set you up to be able to deal in a way that a lot of people can't.
Well, I used to look at my life from a different vantage point. And when you're in all the muck and you're just walking in muck and walking in muck and walking in muck, you don't see that if you look off to the fucking left of the muck, there's a sidewalk, brother. Get off of it. You have your head down looking in this muck. Once I saw the sidewalk, got the sidewalk, I got a little break. And I got a different vantage point. And then from the sidewalk, I found a cliff. Then I found a mountain. I got way up high on top of my life and looked back down on it and said, okay, I got to figure this out, man. I'm not going anywhere. I'm starting to lie. So when you have a messed up foundation, I started lying about everything. I wanted people to like me. I wanted to be accepted in some society of life, some social society. And I was like, man, this isn't the right way. I messed up here, I messed up here, I messed up everywhere. And so I realized the worst thing that happened to me is I lost myself. I never had myself. I never found myself. I had no self-esteem. So I knew through working out and through learning, because it took a lot for me to learn also, I started finding self-esteem. Once I found that, that's when doors started opening up. I stopped caring about people, that what they thought, being judged. Wow, if I say this, if I started right now, are you gonna make fun of me? I stopped caring about that. And that's when my life started really changing for me, slowly but surely.
That's such an important point when you're talking about the working out, because a lot of people, when they think about working out, they think of it as being a physical thing.
Right, no. I did it for mental.
Yeah.
People always say, my God, like, no, don't look at it like, I didn't care about losing weight. I didn't care about being the fastest person. I wasn't making the Olympics. I wasn't going to pros. I could barely read and write when I was in a junior in high school. I wasn't going anywhere. I saw working out as a way for me to build calluses on my mind. I had to callous over the victim's mentality. So I watched these movies. I talked about Rocky last time I was on here. I always equated training to mental toughening. Like, it always looked brutal. People waking up early and doing all these things, and it looked horrible. I was like, wow, man, I got to start doing that. Not to get better, bigger, and stronger, but that is what's going to build me. That looks uncomfortable. That looks brutal. And getting up early, I don't want to do that. So I made this long list of things I don't want to do. And through that, I found myself. I started, I'm like, you guys aren't doing this shit in high school. You guys aren't getting up at 5 o'clock in the morning, running over here in this golf course. So I started seeing myself very differently than the average human being. I was like, hang on a second. I have something they don't have. And that's when I started to develop these things through working out. It was this great, never-ending work ethic. And through work ethic, I developed self-esteem.
Now, is this something that you learned? Is this something you learned yourself from exercise yourself? Or is this something you had read or heard about? Like, what made you equate doing this and doing these difficult things physically to mental toughness, to being, this is the discipline that you need in order to get your life out of the situation you're in? So
I never read anything. I could barely read, so right. I wasn't reading back then. I watched a lot of movies. And I was really big into visualization. And I always equated working out to struggle. And I struggled my whole life, but I ran from it. So I started realizing, man, I got to start facing the struggle, and I got to be mentally strong for the struggle. So that's why I started coming up with, I'm training for life. Mentally, I'm training for life. I'm not training for, to lift 400 pounds. And I found out on my own pretty much. Is that through discipline, through self-discipline, through repetition, through tons of repetition of the same thing that you don't want to do, and that's the key thing. Through repetition of things you don't want to do, you develop mental, like an armor for your mind. You start to armor your mind, because your mind's like, okay, we suffer every day. That's what we do. We do stuff that sucks every day. So then when the suck stuff comes, you're ready for it. And that's how I started coming up. I just started being very uncomfortable. And now it's like just a way of life.
It's a crazy thing to figure out, though. It's like that you figured it out, and you didn't just figure it out, you embraced it. Like when you were talking about your senior year of high school, when you're talking about your mirror being your accountability mirror, like you had a radical shift. Mm-hmm. Like you just decided to not be a fucking loser, right, and to start tightening up and start holding yourself accountable and get ready for things.
So I had this my whole life. I mean, I don't know if people believe in God or what. I don't care what you believe in. There's been this unrelenting voice in my head. We all have this voice. It's the right or wrong voice. And a lot of times that voice guides us into comfort. And my voice guided me into comfort a lot. But I had this other voice I heard my whole life saying, hey, motherfucker, what are you doing? No, man, we got to go over here. We got to go over here to that rock pile over in the fucking corner where nobody's at. That's where victory's at. We're over there in that corner. So this voice was giving me all these answers. I wasn't a real smart kid growing up, but I had this crazy voice in my head saying, over there is where the fucking answers are. And I didn't want to listen to it because over there was pain. Over there was me looking in the mirror. Over there was me being accountable for all these things I went through my life. Even though people put them on me, it's now mine to own. And I didn't want to go over there by myself, but I had to. And this voice was guiding me there. It's God, whatever you want to call it. But that's what it was in me.
Do you think that's just what when you separate yourself from your ego and what your insecurities and all like if you were giving yourself advice, you would say that's what the thing is to do. So do you think that's what it was, like your subconscious or you stripped away from all the bullshit when you couldn't lie to yourself because it's a voice in your head?
That's exactly it. It's exactly it.
Because it knew.
It knew. I was a character. I was trying to find myself through a character. I was making different hairstyles and sagging my pants, and I was off. I was off, man. I was a clown. I was a clown, and I was like, this is not where you're supposed to be in life, man. And it's ugly when you look in that dirty mirror, and you're trying to do a new hairstyle to go to school. You know, I had a hairstyle one time where I shaved the top of my head. You know how old men had the hair like leaving their head?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I went to school with hair on the side of my head and in my back, and I shaved the whole top of my head. I went to school like that, you know. And then I had like.
What did the kids say?
I don't remember what they said, but I was just a funny dude. You know, so that was my thing. I was the funny dude that came into school, like Criss Cross came out when I was in high school. So my pants were backwards. I said, you know, I'm gonna have my pants backwards, sag down past my ass crack, shirt turned backwards with a toothbrush in my mouth with the reverse part. The reverse part is your head is shaved and you have some hair on top. Just a little piece of hair versus like a part through hair. The part was on a bald head. So it was just, I would sit at home, instead of studying, I would think about what can I do to impress the motherfucker at school?
Wow.
And that became my life. And it's a long road to hoe to get to the guy who says, now, you don't ever smile on any podcast. You look so serious. I look at that shit. I'm like, you motherfuckers have no idea who I am, where I've come from to get here today.
You could have probably been an entertainer. Like you probably, because you were doing all that kind of shit?
I have some jokes, Joe. I got some jokes, Joe.
I bet you do.
So what people read in this book can't hurt me. It's a sad story. It's a horrible story. It's a tragic story. It's a story that made me who I am today. But you have to learn to laugh at yourself too. Once you go through that shit, so there's a lot of parts in there where there's a lot of me against a lot of white people, you know? And I have a routine that I won't do. So people who hire me to speak, I'm not going to do the routine. I often do it sometimes. Think about it. I was a 36 black guy to go through SEAL training. Okay.
Out of how many people?
Out of probably looking at probably 11, 12 to make it through. Probably 13,000 SEALs. I was probably the 36. I was a 36 black guy to make it through, and over since like the 1940s. You know, you're looking at almost 70 years.
Wow.
Yeah. So you know, do the math on that. So there's not a lot of black guys, and so I take that and I make a nice comedy skit out of that shit. You know, like the first time they tied me up and threw me, it's called drown proofing.
Yeah.
So I'm negative boring as hell. You know?
Me too.
Oh.
I'm related to that big time.
Yes, you one of the few white boys, man, that are negative boring. You sink like a rock.
Like a rock.
And that's hard. So imagine them getting your hands and feet, tying your ass up and throwing you in the fucking water and say swim. It was like throwing a cat in the water with fucking a brick on him. So I was just losing my fucking mind. So it's so many things I had to get over, you know, and I found humor. I found humor in my suffering. I was like, motherfucker, what are you doing out here, Goggins? Like, this is crazy. Like, you're literally trying to reinvent the wheel, but I was trying to reinvent my mind. And I used every single tactic possible to do that. I didn't want to live in this world where I was a fake human being anymore. And I was tired of blaming everybody for where I was at. My dad beat me, this happened. I mean, my dad ran prostitutes, man. My dad literally snatched the soul out of my mom. Like, my mom is still battling. Like, after my mom left my dad, and this is what I'll talk about in the book, she got married 3 times for a total of 6 months. You know, I don't go there. I'm not even going to talk about the guy she married. So this woman she's beautiful. She's so smart, all this stuff, man. This guy literally stripped her soul away. And I was a young kid watching it. And I had no soul to begin with. And my brother, he has a story that he could write 8 books. You know, my dad just came through and just washed us all clean. So to come out. Is he
still around?
He died about 4 years ago. 4 or 5 years ago, I'm not for sure. I didn't go to the funeral, but I forgave him. So I saw my dad through an 8-year-old's eyes. So we left when I was 8. And then at 22, I went back to see him through a grown man's eyes. And he was the same person I remembered. But I had to. You can't live with hate. You cannot move forward. As much as that guy tried to ruin all of our lives, that's where I came from. I had to figure out the origin of where I started from. So when I was going back through my life trying to fix who I am, the fucked up person I was, like if your knee hurts, it's usually not your fucking knee that's hurting. It's something else, man. Like it could be a tight quad. It could be the right leg if it's the left leg. You got to find out the origin of where all this shit began. And it was him. So I had to go back to where, my roots and the origin of all this happened, and it's hard to do that.
Did you make peace with him?
I made big peace with. So we didn't have a peaceful conversation. We left very Garanimal. He's a vicious man. He was a vicious man. I mean, medieval motherfucker. So I had become a medieval motherfucker at that time. I was 22 and I was the big boy, and so I was no longer the guy who was afraid. It was now like, hey, I want to kill you type of shit. And we were sitting at Denny's after an all-night skate or whatever the hell. He owned bars and skating rinks and shit like that. And so we were sitting down and we kind of got into it, and I just kind of left. But I had to make peace with it in myself. I could not hold on to that hate, because holding on to that hate was half the reason why I kept falling into the same pattern of failing. I had to start dumping off some baggage. I had to start figuring out me through him, and that's all he was there for. He was the origin. I had to figure him out, figure out why he was so evil to my mom, to me, my brother, and I had to start studying him. Like a lot of people have situations where someone does something, and we all attack that person, like on the media. If someone does something wrong, everybody now is fucking perfect. And we now judge this guy. I don't judge him. I don't judge anybody. What I do is I start studying them. Why did they do that? Not in a judging way. I want to learn from you.
And what'd you get out of your dad?
I got that he grew up rough. He was very insecure, had a lot of kids, and his insecurities just trickled over onto us. So yeah, he jacked us up real good, but he never fixed himself. So if you never fix yourself, the next person in line is going to get the wrath. And we were next in line. His first wife, killed herself or whatever happened, and, got burned up in a house or something. It's some craziness, man. There's a lot of stuff that goes on there that I didn't put in the book because I don't feel like going to court.
Yeah.
But yeah, this it was a lot of stuff.
One of the great parts about this book is that you detail exactly what was going through your mind in terms of like your weaknesses and how you had failed, and then it's not just one time. Like you do the thing in high school where you get your shit together, and then you join the military, and then you wind up getting fat again. And then when you have to lose, 106 pounds in 3 months to qualify for SEAL training?
For SEAL training, yep.
That's insane.
Yeah, because what I realized at that time, once again, I failed again. I thought, so what you're talking about is I took this ASVAB test. I didn't know how to read and write pretty much in high school. I was like at 4th grade reading level. And I took that test a few times. And I finally passed it. And when I passed it, I actually drove my car to the daggone airport and watched planes take off. Because I was like, I'm going to be on one of those planes one day going to Air Force boot camp. So I always fixed the things on the surface. So if I couldn't read and write, I learned to read and write. I would always fix these things on the surface level. And so whenever something hard would raise its ugly head, I didn't have any kind of tools to handle it. I'm like, man, I thought I fixed this already, man. But no, I didn't go deep into the dungeon of my soul to say, okay, what is making you a quitter? What is making you a weak man? What is making you afraid? And so that's why I kept on quitting and going back to start, or not knowing how to get through hard times. And that's why I always tell people, I'm not a theorist. I didn't study, I didn't study a fucking book. I literally put myself in a fire repeatedly like a sword. You put a sword in a fire repeatedly and repeatedly. If you keep on doing that, you're going to get a nice sword. And then you keep on beating it. You got to beat the shit out of it. And that's what I am. Yeah. I became that. I said, okay, we can't quit. We got to figure out why you are this pussy. Why are you this pussy, man? What is wrong with you? What's going on here? So I kept on putting the sword back in the daggone fire, and I just beat it harder. And I beat it harder. And before I knew it, I started realizing, all right, man, the brain is starting to get hard. The brain is starting to get hard. I'm no longer a theorist. I'm now a practitioner. I put it in hell. I dissected it while it's in hell, because you can't dissect anything in a normal environment. You can't dissect anything in 72-degree weather. You must put it in the fucking freezer and freeze the fuck out of it. And then you dissect it. Dissect it when it's miserable. Dissect the brain when all it's thinking about is, I need to get out of here, man. I want to get out of the fucking freezer. Open the door. And you said, nah, 5 more seconds, man. 5 more seconds in the freezer. And that's when you start to pick that brain apart. And that's what all this stuff did to me. I kept on putting myself back into the freezer or the fire and beating the shit out of myself, mentally and physically. Before I knew it, this is what happened.
Wow. It's an interesting way to self-teach. You
Yes.
know, like most people that, you know, you talk to that are disciplined, they, you know, they have something that they read that inspired them. They have certain people that they look up to. There's certain, you know, coaches that taught them. There's certain important moments in their life. But for you, it's a system of failure and reflection and then rebooting.
That's it.
Yeah.
Repeated failure. And people think a lot of times about me that I'm angry. Oh my God, you sound so angry. You cuss so much. Oh my God, why you cuss so much? Why are you so crazy? If you read my book, I cannot explain my life by saying, hey, it was a Merry fucking Christmas, man. No, it wasn't. I want you to go there with me. I'm taking you there with me. I'm a storyteller. I want to take your ass down paradise. So the house I lived in Buffalo, New York, that I got my ass beat every day, funny. We lived on Paradise Road. And it was anything but fucking paradise. So I want you to go there with me. You want to learn from me? Let me take your ass home. Let me take you there. So that's the whole thing about it, man. We're scared to dive into our lives. What made us who we are? The beautiful people that we are. We're all jacked up in so many ways. That's the beauty of us. That's the beauty of me. I'm jacked up. But I figured out my own little process on how to get unjacked up and how to. I'm not going to get the same, I'm not going to get the same way you're going to get there. You may get there by going point A to point B. I might go point C to D to E to F, but I'm going to be there the same way you are, just a little harder. That's how I train my brain. So it's just different. I'm just a different thinker.
When you stop and think about all the different times that you did have to reboot and how you found like new goals and you found new inspiration and you fired up a new discipline and you became stronger and harder and you got one of the things that people always look for in life, they look for a point where they can rest.
Yes, sir.
Oh, I'm going to retire. You know, like people love that expression, the golden years. They love that expression.
Yes.
You know, they love the idea of a struggle as long as it ends, and then when it ends, they're gonna have a nice, comfortable spot.
It must end.
Yeah,
the suffering must end.
Yeah, you should relax, man. You've done so much.
That's right.
You've really done so much. But the idea of reaching this golden year it's a very flawed idea because it's an idea that you're gonna work hard, but then you're gonna reach the finish line. But there's no finish line.
No.
It doesn't exist.
That's the scary thing about life, my friend.
That is a scary thing, right?
And that's what fatigues me. People go, man, why don't you ever smile? There's no fucking end, my friend. There's no end. There's no end.
I know that you're going to meet Cam Haines after this.
Yes, sir.
And listen, please, if you guys run, put a number of that miles that you're going to run and leave it at that. Do not say, let's see who quits, because you will both die, because that's a hard man.
He is a hard man.
Cameron Haines is a hard man. He will run until you die or he dies.
He's a hard man, dude.
He does those 240s. He does those ultra. He's a sick fuck.
And see, those are the guys I'm looking for.
Yeah, that's a scary. The two of you guys, you need to pick a number.
I know.
Whatever you get. I think you guys are gonna run 35 miles.
Yeah.
Is that what you're gonna do? Good.
Yeah,
35 is a good number.
Yeah,
Leave
we've
it
been
at
texting back and forth, trying to make it sensible,
Yeah.
so we don't go off the chain.
Because if one of you motherfuckers wakes up and has a good strong espresso,
I know.
and goes, fuck it, let's do 300.
It's gonna be on.
No!
It's gonna be a long day, man.
No.
That's it.
Yeah. You know this new race that they're doing where they're you run for 1 hour. You run like as many, and then you have like a bell rings, and then you sit down for a little bit. You know what I mean? Like there's like a 4.17 mile thing.
Yep.
It's that sick fuck. What was the guy's name that created that?
The guy did the Barkley Marathon.
Yes.
I don't know.
You're talking about Laz.
Yeah.
Yeah, this crazy fuck.
Laz.
So he had people running for days and days and days.
He invited me out there for this race.
Yeah?
I actually got into the Barkley last year, but couldn't do it because of the book. So I'm supposed to do it this year, But now, we'll see again how the schedule goes. But yeah, that's a sick man. I've done a couple of his races. Like he has one called Strolling Jim. I actually won that one in 2016. But he's a sick man.
What is a Strolling Jim race?
It's his probably easiest race. It's like through the back country of Tennessee. It's a 41-mile race on the road. It's one of the first ultra marathons out there ever. And my mom lives in Nashville, so it's like an hour drive. I went up there, and it was like one of my first races back after me being all sick and jacked up for so long. And I got lucky, had a good race, and I happened to win it.
You were talking about psoas muscle.
Yeah.
And you had all that. We have this thing now that we got. What is that called?
So right.
So right. Have you ever used one of those
I have it also.
things?
I saw it in there, that little black contraption.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that hard plastic thing.
Yeah.
That thing's phenomenal.
It's evil, man.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's good.
It's amazing.
I started getting tightness in that when I was running a lot. Like I'd never gotten tightness in that area before.
Yeah.
It seems like that's a running thing, right?
It's a running thing and also a very stressed thing. If you're real stressed out, man, like for me, like I talk about the origin, where things start. My body was so wrapped tight, I didn't know where to start.
Yeah.
So I started with the psoas muscle. So that's a real good spot.
Well, the problem with these races is the problem with people like you. That's the problem with these races. Like if you get you and another you,
right,
and they're in there together, like you motherfuckers are going to kill each other.
It's a long day.
It's a long day.
It's a long day.
It's a long day. Because if they're doing a last man standing type deal, right?
Yeah.
Like the first person to quit.
Yeah, it's a real long day, man. I mean, I've been up. I got a couple of hills under my belt, man. I know how to stay up for 130 hours and move.
Yeah.
And I know how to self-motivate. A lot of motherfuckers don't know how to self-motivate, man. Like, we like to put the headphones on, like before the big game, and listen to the music.
Yeah.
What the fuck did you do when the headphones come off, bro? It's you in your own mind.
Right.
I know how to do that. That's the hard part, man.
Do you ever listen to music when you run?
Never.
Mm-hmm.
Never. Told you, Jamie's cheating.
He has that video I got. I thought you might have seen it.
But
he talks about like running with music. And
what did you say? Find it. Find the video. We'll play it. We might not be able to play it. Is it somebody else's content?
No, it's his content.
I actually, but I did during my last pull-up record. I listened to, that song from Rocky 1, round 14, when Rocky gets knocked down the corner. I listened to that. It's 2 minutes and 13 seconds long. I listened to it on repeat for 17 hours. Merry Christmas, motherfucker. Merry Christmas.
Oh, man.
17 hours, man. I went to such the dark, dark evil. I have a picture in my hand in the book. I was in a dark. I went to a place, man, that I'm like, I can do anything here. We got to live here for a while. Because I kept on feeling that record. I go, I don't want to see a pull-up bar again. I mean, like, I did 67,000 pull-ups, man. And like, this is my third. I'm like, I can't. I don't want to see another pull-up. So I was like, I'm doing this come hell or high water, man. So I broke it out.
Is this the video? Let me hear this. Play this.
So I never trained with music. There's a reason why I don't do that. The music's not going to always be there. The TV, the distractions, all these external things. I'm in the gym right now with all this loud music. People need it to get fired up. They need it to stay motivated. They need to stay in the fight. They need it to just go in the gym to do whatever they're going to do. What do you do when you have no external motivation? It's about the internal. What do you say to yourself? How are you going to fire yourself up? What's that flame inside of you that keeps you going? Let that keep you going, not this.
And when you're doing this, the whole time you're doing this, you're doing some of the hardest chin-ups you can do. You got a chain around your neck
right.
for the folks that are just listening, and you're pulling down on ropes. You're doing chin-ups on, it looks like taped-up ropes.
Yes, sir.
That's what it is? Yeah, those are grip.
Yeah.
That's like jiu-jitsu guys do a lot of those.
Yes, I was. I spoke to the University of Alabama, and they were in there. Most of these athletes, man, they got to get hype.
Yeah.
So that music is blaring.
Yeah.
And I'm like, man, once that shit comes off, and you get popped in your fucking mouth. Yeah. Your headphones are on the sidelines, brother. What you gonna say? What's gonna happen?
Yeah.
What you gonna say to yourself then? So that's how I train my mind, man. I train my mind because I know I'm gonna get popped in my mouth, man. I'm gonna get popped in the back of an alley one day, man, running around doing what I do, and there's gonna be no music.
Yeah.
You better figure it out.
I told you, Jamie's cheating. I told him I was telling, but when I first started running, people said, "Do you run with music?" I said, "No, running's cheating. When you have music on, it's cheating. You're cheating. You listen to music." But now I listen to music all the time. But more than I listen to music, I listen to books.
Yeah. Yeah.
Books on tape, audio books, and yours is, like I said, has been the last 2 weeks has been my running partner.
Well, I appreciate that, man.
It's fucking phenomenal, man. It's phenomenal. And you're doing this kind of independently, right?
Yeah. So what I did, man, is I pissed off a lot of people. So in 2012, I got an offer for my book for $30,000. I said, you can go fuck yourself. You know what the hell I went through, brother? So then everybody was like, we don't see a market for a black guy, ultra runner, fat guy who couldn't read. 15% of America is black. We don't see many fucking, people buying your book.
They think only black people will buy your book?
There's some ignorant people out there, man. Everybody that follows me is white. I don't have a black... I have like 3 black followers, man.
Eve Edwards just left.
It's
he
hilarious.
Follows you.
Yeah,
Eve
right.
Edwards is a big fan. He's black.
Yeah, he's like an unusual species out there, man. And so I'm sitting there walking around going, man, you don't even know who, everybody I talk to is white. It's the ignorance of the world. And I'm in these meetings hearing this kind of stuff. So now, 2018, I get a $300,000 offer for a first-time author. So I'm sitting back, I'm like, my God, man, I used to make like fucking $60,000 a year. This is the biggest payday yet. And I started thinking, I took that 1 second. I talk about the 1 second decision a lot about what I went through in my life, what I've done. And I was like, you know what? I struggled so hard in my life. I went through so much that the biggest trophy I own now is that book. The biggest trophy I own now is not the book itself. It's what's in the book. It's what, I don't give a fuck if that sells 1 copy. Honest to God, man. What I did, and that's what I hope people understand. Your life and the journey you put yourself through, there's nothing more than that. And that's all I want people to do is realize that you have to struggle. You have to struggle. The bigger the struggle, the bigger the peace. The bigger the suffering, the more peace.
I'm not just saying this because you're here, but this book is valuable. This book is very valuable. It's valuable to people like anybody that, biographies are always valuable when you get to see the mindset of a person who's done things that you haven't done. You get to understand that they're overcoming sort of the same sort of situations in their mind that you are. Right. Same insecurities and pitfalls. But
yeah, everybody's gone through it, man.
Yeah.
Everybody. That's one thing I say. I'm blessed that way that my story, there's no color involved in it. It's a human story about struggle. And I happen to be in so many different situations that so many people can relate to about struggle that I guarantee you, mark my word, you read that book, there will be a section of that book that resonates with you hardcore. It will make you think. If you're not ready to think about your life and think about, where you can be and think about what you haven't done, the book's not for you. If you're not ready to really self-reflect and hold yourself accountable for where you're at and where you're not, the book is not for you. It's real.
I've read a lot of self-help books, and I've listened to a lot of self-help books on tape too. And there's some of them that I have to shut off. I have to shut off a quarter way, and I feel like someone's lying to me. I just you're bullshitting me. You're just saying things. This doesn't resonate with me. It's not working. Right. I'll give it a chance. But if I'm, half hour in, 2 hours in, it's still the same nonsense. I don't feel anything.
Right.
I'm getting itchy listening to you. I just want to pull the headphones off and I'll just kill it and I'll stop it. This is the total opposite. This one, man, I was running extra miles so I could stay with the headphones on. And the thing that I think is going to happen with this book is people are going to get it. They're going to get a hold of it, whether it's the audiobook or the book, and they're going to recommend it, and then it's going to spread like wildfire. This is a powerful book. This is a real self-help book. This is a real one. It's not like someone orchestrates this whole thing. What I'm going to do is I'm going to become a motivator. Right. I'm going to be a personal influencer. Right. I'm going to be that guy that goes out there and tells people you can optimize your life. Here's how you do it. And there's so many of those fucking guys out there.
Right? Yeah, that's not me, man.
I know this one dude. I ran into him recently. I ran into him at this restaurant. He's fat as fuck. He's got this big old belly, and I know he does these motivational things. And I'm looking at him. I'm like, what are you talking about, man? You're weak. Right. Look at your body. Look at your own temple. Look at your meat vehicle. You're carrying around this fucking donut around your waist. It's just, he was eating shitty food and he looked soft. I'm like, wake up, bitch.
So many people are doing that now, man. Yeah. So many people are talking this noise
Exactly.
And I see them.
Yeah.
I know them. I'm not going to say names, but I know them. I'm like, man, dude, do you know why my life is miserable right now? Because I can't go on your show right now, your podcast, if I didn't get after it this morning. So I cannot talk to people.
Unless you're authentic.
Unless I'm authentic. Because I used to be the most unauthentic motherfucker on the planet. Now, I have this voice in my head saying, oh, no, I'll call you up. If I lie to you about something, even a white lie. Hey, yo, Joe, guess what, dude? I fucking lied to you, man. Like, that wasn't real. Like, it will bother me that badly now. You know, so another thing, what's funny about all this book stuff, man, I didn't set out to write a book. Like, literally, man, when I was 24 years old on a couch, fat, spraying for cockroaches, eating donuts and drinking milkshakes, I did not plan on doing this. All I wanted to do was change the fucking reflection in that daggone mirror. This is all, it's a byproduct of that. And that's the funny thing about it. Like, everybody's like, oh my God, David Goggins, what the hell? I'm like, what the fuck?
That's why it works, though.
Unbelievable.
It works because you really did do it. You really did do all those things, and you show how you did it. And you're not using any bullshit theatrical jargon.
No,
you're not. You're not saying a bunch of buzzwords. Can you live the life of an actualized person? I can show you how. And you're looking at this guy talking. He's got a neck like a pencil, and his body is just frail. Like, you don't even understand adversity. You don't understand overcoming.
This is not the secret. You know, this isn't about the law of fucking attraction.
Yeah, exactly.
No, this ain't no attraction here, brother. This ain't no attraction here, man.
Yeah,
like, this book is straight up. Yeah,
they love nonsense.
Yeah, this is no nonsense, man.
It's no nonsense. This is the real self-help book, man. This is the real deal. That's how you self-help. You self-help by people who've done it, and you learn what they did, and you realize there's no shortcuts.
Right.
And then you learn to embrace that no shortcut mentality and enjoy the suffering and the grind of it. And what we talked about earlier, there's no fucking finish line. It doesn't exist.
You know what's funny about that? Is I have people now, so when I was in the worst part of my life, those people want to bring you back in. Those people, like you can see who you hang out with, like when you're in your worst. And when you're trying to get better, what makes it hard to get better is that you are hanging around people who, like, let's say you are an alcoholic. You hang around people who drink. And let's say you want to stop drinking. Those people want to bring you back in. Like, I used to be this guy who wasn't worth anything. Now those people who are still there, they're 16, 17, 18, 30 years ago, they're trying to get you back there. So the hardest part, you got to see who you're hanging out with, man. You got to hang out with the people who you want to be like the most.
Yeah, people will definitely drag you down.
They'll drag you down.
And especially if you're around someone who makes a lot of excuses and they're always failing. Those are just like, they're the opposite of inspiration. They're like a vacuum.
100%.
They're sucking it out of you.
Why are you doing that today, man?
Yeah.
Why are you getting up again so early? Why are you doing this? Why are you doing this? The people you're hanging around with will suck the fucking life out of you.
Yeah.
Sometimes you just got to be alone, man. Get your shit in.
And then there's also people that you're going to be around that are always failing and they're always fucking up and then they're always coming to you to try to get you to help them.
Exactly.
They become a giant burden.
Yes.
They can never look in the mirror and get their own shit together. And they're always looking for external help.
That's right. Always looking for external help. People don't want to go in deep, man. All the answers are inside of you. It's a very primitive way. How this book is written, it's primitive. It's very barbarian. It's how we all think. It's how man once walked the earth. And then we get all soft and all this computers and shit. And we start going away from the most powerful thing we have is our fucking brain. It's our mind. And we don't use it anymore. So, it's like everything has to be so quick.
Yeah, you use your mind when it comes to certain things, right? But what you're saying is you don't use your mind when it comes to enduring.
Exactly. That is it. You can't Google that shit.
Right.
Hey, let me Google how to suffer. No. That ain't going to be in there, brother.
There's no answer.
That ain't going to be in there. That ain't going to be in there.
There's no answer.
It's not in there.
It doesn't exist.
No. Find some water, real cold.
And what's interesting is that is a mind thing. And people think of mind things. They think of calculating and mathematics. They think of literature. No. There's many aspects to the mind.
That's it. Don't overthink it.
Yeah.
Don't overthink it. Put your shoes on. Lace them up. That's all you got to do, my friend. Don't overthink the process.
Yeah, but see, because you've overcome and because you've accomplished so much now, that even when you talk about that moment of like embracing that suck, like you see there's a big ass smile in your face. Like you've got a total different approach to it than the average person.
Oh yeah.
The average person, you talk to them about doing chin-ups for 24 hours or anything fucking crazy. They don't look at it, they're like, oh, there's like a negative, a doom feeling.
That's the thing about it, man. I talk about in my book, open-mindedness. What separates me from a lot of people is they go into a daunting task, and the task is overwhelming. Like when I heard the pull-up record was 4,020 pull-ups, and I was talking about breaking this record, people are like, oh my God. I went right to a pen and paper. They go, what are you doing? I'm doing the math, man. What are you talking about? I'm open-minded to the fact that, okay, if I do 5 pull-ups in a minute for so many hours, I can get so many pull-ups in. How much time do I have to rest? I was breaking the math down. You have to be open-minded to the possibilities that I can do this. Once you shut your mind down to the possibility that it can be achieved, there's no way it can happen. So that's why my eyes and my body light up about things, because I know that if you're in a fight, you have to attack. You have to keep attacking. The enemy has to know he is not going to give up. You must break the soul of whatever the fuck is in front of you. That's what I realized. I was never breaking the soul of anything in front of me. So that's why I came up with the thing called Taking Souls in my book. I started to devise ways to break a soul of a human being, of an object, of whatever's in front of me. If you keep on attacking something, nothing wants to stand in front of anything that is relentless. Nothing.
The Taking Soul part of the book is really interesting because you talked about like the mind shift that you had when you were in Buds.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, that's an intense part of the book.
It is. That's when a lot of stuff started clicking, man. I started watching those instructors on the side because there's 3 shifts. There's 8 instructors, 3 shifts. Because the guys going through Hell Week, they're up all day and all night for 130 hours. This is the promised land of mental hardening for me. I love this place. And you have the instructors who they've been there, done that. Now they're instructing you. So they do their 8-hour shift. They have their parkas on. It's usually cold, coffee, drinking their coffee. And they're beating the crap out of us. And when I started realizing, I started playing mind games. I was like, you know what? I bet these fuckers are looking at us, judging themselves about when they were going through Hell Week. About, let me see, I'm looking at Goggins right now. I was better than him. I was better than that guy. I was better than that fucker over there. And I was like, okay. You're going to judge me, right? All right. So that's what I'm going to do to you. So what I started doing was I got my boat crew 2. It's in the book. It's a great, great story. I said, come here, guys.
You can't break boat crew 2.
You can't break boat crew 2. So it's Wednesday, and everybody's broken. Everybody's beat up, man. And like this is when you start moving like a robot. Everybody's like just trying to get through Hell Week now, and your energy's zapped. And they know Wednesday's like that over the hump.
I love that you talked about that in the book too, that they put it in your head that Wednesday you're going to be tired.
Oh yeah, and that's another thing. They tell you how you're supposed to feel, so you are feeling that way. I was like, don't let these motherfuckers tell you how you're supposed to feel. No, it's day 1, motherfucker. This is hour 1. So I was getting my boat crew all jacked up. I said, we're going to take these motherfuckers' souls. So when they had us doing this simple thing that guys are struggling with, Boat Crew 2 was just launching the fucking boat in there, yelling, yeah, you can't fucking hurt us. You can't hurt Boat Crew 2. And I looked on the instructors' faces, and it looked like someone had just fucked with their soul. And I looked at my guys in my boat crew, and I said, hey, guess what? Those motherfuckers aren't fucking tonight. We own space in their fucking head. We own space. They're going to think about us tonight. They could think about how the
You're
fuck.
killing boners.
That's right. How on Wednesday are these guys doing this?
And screaming out, you can't hurt Boat Crew 2.
We were bringing the fight. We were attacking. So when you keep on doing that, guess what people start doing? I ain't fucking with these guys no more. So Boat Crew 2 got a lot more sleep. Boat Crew 2 just became that Boat Crew like, hey, because we just kept charging, and we started fueling off of that. We started fueling off the fact that, man, it takes 1 second of energy to steal everybody's. And then you have all the energy you need. That's all you need. You need to look at someone's eyes. You know how it is when you fight somebody and you broke that motherfucker. He's like, oh, God, man, I don't want to go back to the next round. And you feel like, my God, I can fight all day. I can fight all day long. That's what taking souls is. But you have to have the will, the heart, the courage to go that distance when you're exactly jacked up. You have nothing left to give, and give more.
That is an interesting thing about the mind, is that you can find inspiration, and when you find inspiration, when you get charged up, all of a sudden you have energy.
That's right.
It's right. It's weird.
And I talk about in the book also is about I learned how to control my adrenals. If you know how you get that fight or flight response when you get to move real quick.
Yeah.
And I started learning the mind a lot, how to get myself jacked extremely fast, like in a horrible environment when everybody's miserable. I learned how to really find strength in the misery. When everybody's suffering, everybody's all poopy pants and their mentality's down and everything, I started just like, my God, this is where I shine. And I started using all that misery for tons and tons of drive and motivation to then lead people further. Because you can get a lot of power through misery. And once people see that, my God, Goggins is fucking going, then everybody says, Roger that. Let me get my shit and go too. So I started realizing that if you can just find strength just a little bit longer, you will have a crew of people following you along the way.
And that is another thing that no one can ever teach you. You're going to have to learn that on your own. Mm-hmm. You're going to have to figure out how to pull that energy out of your mind on your own. There's no book you can read that all of a sudden I have it. I've got the technique now. I know how to do it.
Yeah.
No, it's a grind that you have to start and finish on your own.
You have to take great pleasure in the fact that no one wants to be where the fuck you're at right now. Great pleasure in that. And what makes, it has to bring a passion out of you. It has to bring something very, very weird out of you, man. Like, people don't really understand what that is. When you're in the worst environment possible, the worst situation possible, and everybody's looking like, God, man, I hope this ends. And you see that. Time slows down and you see that. You're feeling that. Everybody has that look on their face like, God, this got to go. I don't want to be anymore.
Have you ever gotten rhabdomyolysis?
Oh, yes, sir.
Did you get it?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
When did you get it?
I got it on my second pull-up record attempt, and I talk about it a little bit in the book there. And I have sickle cell trait, and a young kid just died from rhabdo, because sickle cell's not a good thing, obviously. And rhabdo's a bad thing for having sickle cell.
You have sickle cell trait, but you don't have the disease.
I don't have the disease.
A buddy of mine died from it when I was a kid.
Really?
Yeah. A guy I used to fight with, used to train with. Yeah, he was always sick. He'd have it, he'd get sick.
It's horrible.
He'd be gone. He'd be out of the gym for months, and he'd come back, and he'd just be trying to get his body back in shape again. Then he'd get it again. Then he wound up dying. He's a talented guy, too. When you got it, what did you have to do?
So they put me in the hospital for a while. That's when my hand got real messed up. And my fluids were extremely low. And I had done I think I did 3,000 pull-ups. And they're like, man, your body is wrecked up.
Were you just not drinking water while you're doing it?
I was drinking water, but not enough. Not enough. I was sipping this carbohydrate drink. Mm-hmm. And my calories were extremely low. I didn't know how much I was going to burn through. And you burn through an awful lot of calories, man, doing that many pull-ups for that many hours.
Yeah.
And with the repetition, with using the single points of just my hands and my biceps, my back, like my body was swollen like the Pillsbury Doughboy. I mean, it looked horrible. And so they kept me in there for a while. But
how long?
Probably about 8 hours. I was in about 8 hours on IVs and stuff like that.
So it was basically a rehydration issue? That's a big part of it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Tons of fluid. And they sent me home, though. So I went home that night.
And how long did you wait before you jumped back at it?
I think I was back on the pull-up bar about a week and a half later. And then I broke the record 6 weeks later.
Wow.
I broke the record.
Jesus Christ. So when you did get back on the pull-up bar, how fucked up was your body?
It was bad. But what I do is like what I've done through everything, which isn't real smart. I mean, it works for me, so I'm not saying do this, is I've trained through a lot of my injuries. And I started developing, I started doing that in buds, in SEAL training, because in SEAL training, you got to start from day one, or they just kick you out. So I started from day one enough. So my third time going through, I was really jacked up.
Well, you had pneumonia.
Yeah, I had pneumonia, and I had really bad stretch fractures. So my stretch fractures, so I would put a sock on and then duct tape my foot all the way up to the top of my, or to the mid of my ankle, or to the mid of my calf. And because my stretch fractures were so bad, so like the pivot point between my ankle and my shin, I just casted that all the way up. And so I went through for a few months with stretch fractures. And what was crazy about that is they healed. By the time I got to third phase, my stress fractures were healed.
Wow.
And I don't even know how, rhyme or reason behind it. I ran on them. A few months later, they were healed.
Wow.
So I don't know what that
so you
means.
just pushed through the agony, and eventually your body just said, this crazy fuck is not going to stop.
It's a true statement. Yeah, it's weird. A lot of my injuries I've just pushed through, and they've, I duct tape it up. I mean,
have you ever had to have surgery on any of them?
No, just a couple heart surgeries, but none of my actual physical body.
And what was your heart surgery for again? You talked about this before,
yeah,
right?
ASD. I had a hole in my heart.
Yeah.
So we
Which
talked
is even
about
more ridiculous.
Yeah, that's what we talked about that too, man. They took me off and studied me for a while, so they realized that my God, I shouldn't even been in the military. I wasn't even qualified to be in the military with a hole in my heart. Let alone be in special operations where you're jumping on planes and stuff like that. So I was lucky.
How'd they seal that up?
So they went in with a helix patch, and through my femoral artery, and they went through, put a patch, and they realized I missed like 3 or 4 years of a military career because of this heart surgery.
Wow.
Yeah, so I was off of jump status, dive status. I was just so that's why I talk about recruiting so much. I stayed in recruiting for like 3 or 4 years, and I became like a Navy SEAL recruiter when I was doing this for a while. So I got extended there because of the heart surgery.
And other than that, you never had to have any other surgeries? No meniscus, no nothing like that?
No.
That's crazy.
No, and I've had some jacked up injuries. But see how I grew up, like I talk about in the book, my dad didn't believe in taking anybody to the hospital. Like that's just how it was, man. It was barbarian stuff, man. But, you learn to deal with it and you live it. And you're fine. You get hard.
Get MRIs?
Oh, yeah.
Get everything checked out?
Matter of fact, man, I was terrified of the MRI machine for a long time. I was claustrophobic. I was like, man, there's a lot behind that, man. But yeah, I've been checked out a lot. I've had so like I said, like 6 years ago, I started stretching out like I thought I was dying. I couldn't even get out of bed. So all that stretching out was from pretty much all these injuries I had that I never really fixed. And my body got knotted up and more knotted up and more knotted up. It's going to heal. One way or another, it's going to heal. And when it heals, it's not going to heal right. It's going to heal all jacked up and crooked. Yeah. So I'm a crooked, jacked up dude, man, but I can still get it done.
It's amazing that you haven't had like knee surgeries or anything like that. You consider all the running that you've done. My
left knee right now it's no joke. So like I say, origin of pain. My right foot is messed up because of my left knee. So right now I'm taking care of my left knee. It's getting a lot better now, but don't worry, Cameron Haynes. I will still be fucking out there running with your ass. I'm not going to get out of it, buddy. So if you're listening, motherfucker, I will see you this weekend. Merry Christmas. All right? Just so you know, brother. Merry Christmas. I'll see you soon.
You don't know what's wrong with the knee? You have no idea?
It's from stretching. So basically.
Stretching?
Yeah. So really? Because my body was in such bad alignment from just what I did to it. Mm-hmm. That now I'm in this huge stretch routine and my body's getting back into alignment. So your muscles, like I was a power lifter, man. Like I grew these huge muscles and now I'm this small guy and from the stress of my body going through 3 hell weeks and also my body became one knot. Mm-hmm. So as things start to open up, joints start to hurt, things start to hurt. And I'm like, God, so it's been this big, long process. So I'm faster and better shape than ever. My organs work better. I'm healthier than ever. But I have these little tweaks here, these little tweaks there from the fact that my body was locked in position from these muscles being so tight. Now,
what do you weigh now?
About 182, 183.
And you were at like 300 plus pounds when you got your fattest, right?
My fattest, when I weighed in for the military, I don't know what my fattest was, but when I weighed in on that scale, when Steven Saljo hit that scale on me, man, it was 297. And he's like, brother, you got to lose 106 pounds. And I was like, fuck this. I can't. I was like, what are you talking about? I was like, how's that possible? So anyway, it just,
And not a lot of time. That's the crazy thing. They didn't give you 3 months to lose that. 33 pounds a month is a lot of fucking weight. Plus a few.
Almost impossible. And that's what I thought. But see, you see the person I am now. Yeah. I was 175 pounds in high school. So I was a skinny guy in high school. So I made myself big. Mm-hmm. I'm a small boned person, so it wasn't. Trust me, it was hard. It was hardest thing I've ever done in my life. But
what did people think around you when they saw you 3 months later? You're 100 pounds lighter.
My mom couldn't believe it because my mom. So I was living in Indianapolis, Indiana at the time, and so I was trying to study for this ASVAB test again. That I got to take it again, going to the Navy, and I'm out here trying to lose weight, and I'm, you know, working for this company, spraying for cockroaches and all sort of crap. And I would lay in her pond in fucking November in Indiana, just lay in her pond. Cause I'm like, I'm going to buzz. I gotta get hard, you know. So I would lay in the pond, get out of the pond, and go for a run, just all wet, cold, like like the daggone shirt would just freeze up from ice and shit. And I'd be out there running and said, what is wrong with you, man? Like, you were that kid who just didn't want to, like, what's wrong with you? So she started seeing the transformation, like, you know, this guy is obsessed with trying to become somebody. And next thing she knew, man, my God, you actually lost that much weight that fast.
I love the fact that you did it, but what hurts me is when I hear stories about people that get like stomach stapling and surgery and all that shit that they do. Like, you just need to just lose the weight.
Right.
And if you just did it the right way, you would have earned it. And if you earn it, you'll keep it.
That's the thing about it, man. Like, we like to take these very quick fixes in life. We want the 6-minute abs approach to life.
Yeah.
No, man. There's no permanent in that.
Yeah.
There's no permanent in that, man. There's no scarring. There must be scarring.
Well, people are terrified of this thing that you're saying, that there's no end, that there's no finish line, that every day is a new thing, that you have to earn it. Still, after all the shit you've done, every day you get up and you have to earn it.
Yes. You know what's funny about that? I want you to be scared of it.
Yeah.
I want you to be scared of it.
It gives you fuel.
It's great motivation. And see, if you look at it that way, the reason why I speak the way I speak, because I believe in what I'm saying. If I ever shut it down, that's the end of me. And whatever my 100% will be, I don't know what's going to happen to me. Tomorrow, everybody's like, what if you can't run? I will figure what the fuck I can do and do that. That would be my new 100%. You must continue to find your new 100%. Whatever life throws at you, you must find what you can do now. I may become the best, you know, scientist of all time. Who knows? Watch out. You know what I'm saying? Be scared. Watch out. Who knows?
Well, that is an approach, like this approach, this mental approach. You can use that for anything once you get past the quitting mechanism of your mind.
That's
Once you
right.
get past that thing, that this is applicable. You can take these lessons that you learn from these grueling runs,
Yes.
from this losing 106 pounds in 3 months, from all these different things of struggle.
Mm-hmm.
You can take these lessons of struggle and you can apply them to anything.
Yes. I talk about it in my book here about that race I did that made SEAL training look like a child's play in Ranger School. That first 100-miler I did, where I shit on myself and all kind of stuff. That 19 hours it took me with no training, I sum it up like this. You're talking about struggle, how you can put so much of life into struggle. In that 19 hours, I lived 5 years. 5 years of struggle, of happiness, of depression, success, failure in 19 hours. That's what's great about some of these things I do. You get a wide range of life in just 19 hours. You know, like when you get to like mile 50 in your mind saying, we got to get out of here, man. And then you get to like mile 60, okay, we're feeling good. You have all these highs and lows that you have to manage within this suck fest of 19 hours. And that's what I get from a lot of these different things, that human growth, you know, growth of the mind. Without friction, there is no growth. Without friction, there's no growth.
There's no growth and there's no satisfaction. Mm-mm. Like, there's no like, people want to sit around and rest, but you don't really appreciate rest unless you earned it.
That's it. And people they think I'm the craziest person on the planet. You are so far fucking removed from that statement. It's not even funny. I was 290 pounds twice in my life. I do not like to do the things I do, but there's humongous satisfaction from doing it. There's humongous satisfaction from lacing your shoes up saying, I don't really want to go for a run today. And then running. And then getting back and saying, wow.
I did it.
I did it.
Yeah.
And that's what it's about. It's about these small steps to doing things you don't want to do.
You know Jocko Willink?
I know him, yeah.
Jocko's
Don't know him great, but I know him.
I know him pretty well. He's awesome. But every morning, you look at that motherfucker's Instagram, he's got a picture of his watch at 4:30. He gets up at 4:30 every morning, and he earns his sunrise.
That's good stuff,
He works
man.
out like a motherfucker and then earns a sunrise.
That's good stuff.
But it's that thing. Like, there's no end.
No.
It doesn't end.
And it's scary.
That is scary for
scary.
people. Everybody wants that holding hands while the sun sets and
Oh.
the retirement. You're walking off into the sunset.
The biggest question I get is, so when do you rest? When do you recover?
Yeah.
And I don't want to scare people, but the truth answer is, I don't take any days off.
No days.
No days.
7 days a week.
7 days a week.
Well, like, what is a normal day?
Normal day for me, a normal day. So let's say a light day.
Light day.
Light day is at least a 7-mile run. I will every other day, so about 4 days a week, calisthenics plus gym workout. So I don't do any gym workout without hitting pull-ups, push-ups. I call it nickels and dimes. So like 5 pull-ups, 10 push-ups, or I'll go, quarters and whatever, like it's like 25 pull-ups or in like 50 push-ups. So I have all these different things I mess up. So I will do weights with calisthenics, and every single night I stretch. For at least every night, I stretch for at least 2 hours.
2 hours?
Every night. Every night.
So you stretch after you're done working out?
Yeah, so at nighttime, usually I'll be either in a quiet room or I'll be watching TV. I love sports. Be watching the game, and I'm on the floor, man. And that's what I do.
So you just stretch while you're doing stuff?
I stretch while I do stuff.
2 hours is a long-ass time to stretch. Is this just because you're trying to correct
I'm trying to correct
years of not doing that?
No, years of this.
You ever fuck with yoga?
A lot.
Yeah?
Yoga's the shit.
What do you do, hot yoga?
I have my own yoga. Mm-hmm. So I kind of invented my own little yoga for what my body needs. I've done hot yoga several times. Yoga's huge. Yoga's huge. Like holding those positions. And I'm big in holding them for a long period of time. So that's where my stretching is. Like people say, don't hold stretches for a long time. I hold them for a long period of time. 'Cause I'm trying to get full range of motion. A lot of people go in for like my shoulder's all messed up. I get surgery on it. Nah. If you don't have full range of motion in your body, don't go in and get cut on, man, until you know that your body is actually opened up. We start to get knuckle dragger syndrome from doing all these push-ups. You never work your back, like your rear delts. So here you are, you start hunching over. Before you know it, your joints are out of whack. You need to get full range of motion before you know how fucked up you truly are. So I'm always working on full range of motion like a kid. They run so effortlessly. They're always in full range of motion. As you get older and tighter and sit and more stressed, your body starts to get more and more tight. Therefore, your shoulders start to get out of balance and out of joint and out of socket. Therefore, it's popping.
Yeah.
It's popping because you're fucking tight. Open it up first. Open it up. Can you touch your hands behind each other and raise them up behind you? It's all these different ranges of motion that I got real smart on from a guy, and I took it to another level.
So do you work with a trainer, or do you always work out by yourself?
Everything I do, I've never had a trainer in my entire life. Really? Never. Not one time.
Do you read about physiology or exercise science or anything like that?
Nothing.
Nothing?
Nothing.
But what about like when they learn new shit about new ways to, enhance shoulder stability or new exercises? You're not interested?
Nope. I don't I don't do it for that reason.
What do you do it for?
Still to this day, man. To this day, it is for me to become better mentally. How I look has just become I have thousands, hundreds of thousands of miles on this body, running, pull-ups, push-ups, swimming, whatever you want to call it. This body is what it is now. It's from repetition. It's not from studying, hey, if you hold a plank for this long, fuck all that bullshit. I don't care about it. I just do it for my mind.
Right.
I want to continue to harden because that's the only thing I want. That's what I want. I want to have that mind ready for life.
But you also want to increase your range of motion, like
you
said before.
Range of motion is huge.
You want to make sure that you're not causing any additional injuries. Wouldn't you want to stabilize some areas that maybe you feel like you might have weaknesses and find out new techniques to do that?
Have you seen me with my shirt off?
No.
Yeah. It's stable as fuck.
I saw you when you had your shirt off when you first came here. I walked in. Dave got here early, and by the time I got here, he was already doing chin-ups.
Yeah, it's stable. It's stable. You do some pull-ups, push-ups, man. That's some stable shit.
Yeah.
But all that stuff is very important, honestly. Just all jokes aside, man. Full range of motion, getting your shoulder rotation, all that stuff is very important. I learned a lot about that coming up. I had a lot of people I worked out with that were real smart about all this stuff. I'm a real old school meat eater, like Bill Kazmaier type of lifter. I don't look like it. Back when I was that guy in the back of the skinny guy, that's what I did. And I got off really big into human performance, about the body, strength, fitness. That's what I wanted to be. I wanted to be a hybrid motherfucker. A guy that can run 200 miles and then go to the gym with your meathead who's scared of running and lift with him. So that was my whole thing in life. I wanted to be the guy who can run 200 miles with the skinny guys and then go to the gym with the big meatheads and say, okay, load it up. Let's go. So that was my whole thing.
That's a very difficult thing to tie the two of them together. When you think when you think ultra marathon runners or people that run long distances, they're very thin.
Right.
Very thin guys. Mm-hmm. Like when you were talking about the first time you ran 100 miles that you did deadlifts the night before, like that is just fucking preposterous. Nobody does that.
No, yeah. So me and the guy I talked about in the book, it's Silverback Gorilla is what I call him in the book. That's not his real name, obviously. But yeah, he saw me go into my car the night before my first 100-mile race, and it's like he called me out. Said, "Hey, Goggins, come here." When a Navy SEAL calls you out, guy that puts you through 3 hell weeks, you're like, you know what? Fuck, I gotta go to the gym and lift heavy now. So we're doing squats, deadlifts, power cleans, heavy bench presses, and I'm thinking, I have to run 100 miles tomorrow. But I also knew he was coming out there to watch me. So I was like, you know what? You put me through 3 hell weeks. You were my instructor. So now it's my turn to educate you on what a human can do. Because I know you could be sitting there thinking while you're watching me with your wife and your kid, and you just worked out with me the night before. We went real heavy, did the heaviest shit, and we're sore. You're going to sit there while you watch me run around this 1-mile track. How the fuck is he doing that shit right now? We lifted heavy as hell, and he's running 100 miles and never has run past 20 miles in his life. I use that for a lot of fuel. So that gym workout, Mr. Silverback Gorilla, there was a lot for my mentality that brought with me. 'Cause I knew I would see you. And he came at mile 50 with a package of 6 donuts that I chomped up with the quickness. So I used that workout for a lot of motivation. I knew he'd see me. I know he'd be thinking about it.
How'd you not get rhabdo that day?
You know what? I don't know what I got that day, but I talk about it in the book again, that when I went home that night or that morning, that was single-handedly, nothing even close. I'm 43 years old now. There's nothing even close to that pain. I knew for a fact I wasn't going to get out of that tub. I knew I was done. I was, talk about dehydrated, no nutrition. I was eating Ritz crackers and Mileplex. That was the worst pain I'd ever experienced in my entire life. I was pissing Coca-Cola out of me. It was bad. It was bad.
She probably did have rhabdo.
I guarantee it. Yeah. I guarantee I was
pissing
bad.
Coca-Cola. That's
Coca-Cola.
No bueno.
Yeah, no bueno, sir. It was bad. And my ex-wife was like, fuck. And she's a nurse.
Yeah.
And she called my mom up, and mom had her friend there was a doctor friend of hers, said, hey, you got to give him to the doctor immediately. And I was like, hey, you got to give me that fucking phone. I got to call up Chris Kosman, let him know I did 100 miles so I can get in the bad water. It didn't go as like I planned, but I did get in the bad water after another race. But
didn't you do a marathon like how long later?
So basically, I had never run a marathon.
Right.
I did the 100-mile race first, no training. But I had signed up for the marathon because it's the first Las Vegas marathon running down the strip of Las Vegas. So Las Vegas had a marathon, but this is the first time it's going to go down the strip. 2005, I'm like, hey, I'm going to sign up for it. I went on to Iraq, did deployment. When I come back, I'll be training for it, and I'll go do this race with my family. Me, my ex-wife, and my mom signed up for it. So in Iraq, me and my boy, Sledge, in the book, we're just working out. We're doing crazy workouts. And my cardio was 20 minutes every Sunday on the elliptical trainer. That's the only cardio I did. So I call myself training for this marathon, right? So then, my boys got killed in that incident that happened, lone survivor, the whole Operation Red Wings. So that's what prompted me to do the 100-mile race. After the 100-mile race in November, it was like 2 or 3 weeks later, that marathon that we all signed up for that I didn't train for the 100-mile race, didn't do train at all for this. Like, hey, I'll drive there with you all. Because I tried to run the day before. Like, I can't even run down the block. So I didn't do it. So we're driving to the race. I said, hey, Mom, my mom's going to walk it. I said, I'm going to walk it with you. My ex-wife, I said, you can go ahead and take off, do your thing, run your race. I'm going to walk with my mom. That gun went off. and something fucking happened. I took off. I was like, what? I took off like a jackrabbit. Gone. I was like, what the hell? So I was thinking the whole time, I was like, man, I just ran 100 miles like 3 weeks ago, like first time ever. I was peeing blood and pissing shit on myself. I go, my body's broken. My Achilles and my tendons and my feet are broken. I go, what is this? And every time I started running further and further, I go, okay, I got to the 10K. I'm on Boston Marathon time. Because I knew the Boston Marathon was like 3:10:59 for my age. I'm like, hang on a second. And then I started using all this external shit for motivation. I'm like, okay, who the fuck can go out here and run 100 miles, no training? And then I'm broken. Most broken I've been in my life. And now I'm running a marathon. Who could do it? So I started just feeding myself. I get to half the mile. I'm about 30 seconds off the pace. I said, hang on, man, you're Goggins. You can do this shit, man. And I started just feeding myself. You can do this. Before I knew it, man, I got to like the last 6 miles and I was off the pace and I just kicked it. And next thing I knew, I did like a 3:08 and change. I was like, and that was like, what the fuck? What have I been leaving on the table?
Right.
I've been leaving so much on the fucking table for pain. And that's when I started like going crazy about the mind. Like, what the hell am I, like, what is up? Like, it opened these different doors of like possibility and like, what is humanly possible? What are we capable of? Like, you know, people, I didn't even know. I was just amazed by what I was able to do by a simple fact of just reasoning and working with pain and pain management. And my mind just kept on growing from there. And it happened in Hell Week. It happened in the 100-mile race. It happened here. It started just evolving into what it is now, to where now I'm like, God, dog, man, the mind, we are leaving so much on the table. But people take me, he cusses so much, he sounds crazy. Don't listen to all that shit, man. Just cut out the bullshit. Cut the bullshit. Just get to the weeds of that. You are fucking yourself up by not examining your brain. You're not examining your brain. Message it. That's done. You examine your fucking brain, and that takes some hard work and suffering. If you're not willing to do that, I'm sorry.
And it seems like there's no way to do that as a bystander.
No, you can't watch it, man.
Yeah.
You got to get out there and be like, oh, this hurts. This hurts real fucking bad. I don't think this is smart. And then, guess what happens? The body will adjust. It will adjust. And everybody goes, well, then the next question I get, but is there a time when it doesn't adjust? What the fuck? I get some of the stupidest shit, man. Like, don't take it with a grain of fucking salt, people.
Those questions are people that are wanting to quit.
Yes. And that's what I say.
When should I quit?
Yeah, like, did you ever like feel like, no, shut the fuck up. Stop. I don't want to, like, that. There's always that next question. No, don't take it like, go out there and run through a brick wall as many times as you can. No, I'm not saying be me. Don't run 205 miles at one time. I'm not saying do that. I'm saying start to learn the mind is powerful. It's powerful, man. It's unbelievable.
But people need a thing to get them going, right? They need a thing.
Right.
They need a goal. They need a like it's sometimes the first step is the hardest. Mm-hmm. Like it's hard to take that 1 million step too, but sometimes the first step is the most. There's something about the. What do I do? They start going over their phone. They start calling people. They don't get out of the house. Like and there's something about procrastination. It's like, it's painful.
Oh, yeah.
You know you should be doing things, but you just keep doing it. You keep itching that scab.
I procrastinate like a motherfucker, man, every day. I want to do this shit. That's what's so funny, man. People looking like I'm some damn superhero that came down from the gods, from the heavens of earth. No, man. I don't want to do this shit. I'm looking at my shoes for 30 minutes sometimes thinking, man, fuck, man, people look up to you, Goggins. Fuck them. I don't want to do this shit. I'm like, I want to do this shit, man. But guess what?
You do it.
I'm going to do it.
As long as you do it.
And that's what I know about it, man. That's why I stopped doing it. I'm thinking, man, you're going to fucking sit here. You look at your shoes for 30, 40 minutes. You're going to go. You're going to think about it all day long. And you're going to do it anyway.
And sometimes you don't have the time to look at your shoes for 30 minutes.
No.
Those are the beautiful days.
Yes.
Because you just have to go.
That's right.
And so like there's no room for procrastination.
And that's when I was in the military, I loved my schedule. because I knew I had to be at work at 7 o'clock. So you better get your ass up at 4 o'clock, man. You got to get your shit in, brother. Because I had to get my shit in before I got my shit in.
Right.
You know? So that was my mentality back then, man. You know, like I had to get the miles and get everything in, man, and get to work, man. I'm competing with the alpha males.
Yeah, but how much did that piss other alpha males off that you were imposing a very high bar?
I was a very misunderstood human being when I was in the military. The Air Force guys liked me a lot. The Rangers liked me a lot. So much not the SEALs.
Because they were with you.
They didn't like me so much, which is fine. You know, I respect them. I think a lot of them respect. I have a lot of friends in the SEAL teams. A lot of guys that like-minded mentalities as me. And once again, man, I grew up and I got over it. A lot of guys still have, you know, like a lot of people can't get over the fact of whatever. When I became a SEAL recruiter, a lot of guys thought I wasn't deploying for a lot of reasons and whatnot. And I heard a lot. I was that guy who grinded. I grinded hard. I mean, I grinded hard. I was that guy who was up. Like, if we went on an op or we had a workup, let's say we had a workup, we were in an island, we're out there shooting guns and doing land warfare, and we did it till like 1 o'clock in the fucking morning. Most everybody go to sleep. I didn't go to sleep. I went to the gym, and I worked out. Or I go sleep, and let's say we'd be up at 5 o'clock. I was up at 4 o'clock and got my hour in. I made sure to always do that. And I did it to a point to where I think it pissed some people off because I wasn't a quiet person about it. You know, I wasn't the most humble person always. You know, so when you're around alpha males, you're sometimes picking a fight, you know, all the time. And I looked different. I acted different. I was different. I am different. I take a lot of pride in that. And so, you know, if you didn't get after it, I didn't respect you. Because I believe that, you know, where I'm at, I know that human potential is what we have. It's all we have. It's what the world sees us a certain way. And when I saw that people weren't doing that, I had a funky ass fucking attitude. And I own it in my book. I come back from Ranger School a big time leader. I was a big time fucking leader. I got honor man out there. I led by example. And what I realized a lot of times when you're in these schools, people want to graduate these schools because they suck. They don't want to ever go back to these schools. Those schools became my fucking life. People don't want to see a fucking guy that wants to go back to day one, week one of fucking Navy SEAL training every fucking day of your life. And that's how I live. And it's a disgusting human being that I can be. It is. And a lot of people didn't like me. A lot of fucking people started some stupid shit and started saying this and that. The bottom line, man, is my fucking resume says it all, man. My resume is out there. Google the motherfucker. You say whatever you want to say about me, man. I missed some deployments, man, for having fucking, 2 heart surgeries, and people try to start some rumor shit on me, man. You started rumor shit on me, man, because I fucking got the fuck after it. And real hard guys, like a guy named Hawk I talk to all the time, yeah, he's a great friend of mine. When the heart's before my heart surgery, my second heart surgery, I went on a 10-mile ruck run. Before my second heart surgery, the day of it, I went on a 10-mile ruck run, 50 pounds. I saw that guy. He's like, what the fuck are you doing out here? We got heart surgery. It's Roger that, brother. I'm getting it in before I'm be out for about 6 months after the heart surgery. That was my mentality. Because I started realizing at a young age what I was leaving on the table. And once I found out what a human being's capable of, I didn't know how to control that. I was a fucking, you want to talk about fucking savage? That's what I was. I was a fucking straight up, people talk about savage very lightly. I was fucking from the backwoods motherfucking savage, dude. I told you what I thought. I had 8 chips on my shoulder. And a lot of times that wasn't great.
So is it a situation where, like with the SEALs, where once you've gotten through buds and once you've gotten through all the physically grueling parts of getting to be accepted, once you're in, then you were imposing standards that they didn't want to keep up with?
I would say some people. Some people. I had one platoon that I had a problem with. I graduated Ranger School and I got in this platoon and I didn't see eye to eye because I was in charge of a PT program, and you put me in charge of the PT program is fucking your ass. And the thing about it is I didn't like it either. I didn't want to do this shit either, man. But
what were you making them do?
Like, you know, like it was some Navy, it was some Bud shit. You know, we went back to Bud's, like, you know, log PTs and, you know, carrying logs over the berms and shit. And like, I had us do like pull-ups, rope climbs, pull up like for like an hour. So imagine doing a rope climb, then go over do like 10 to 15 pull-ups coming back. And we would do like these, they were very hard workouts. Like there was no like go to the gym, lift some weights type of shit. And I was imposing my own mentality on everybody. These are grown ass fucking men. They know they don't want to be what I'm trying to make them to be. And when they called me off, like, hey, you know, we're not in SEAL, you know, we're not in Buds anymore, Goggins, it pissed me off. And I got a little fucking attitude, got my chip, and I got my ball, and me and Sledge went ahead and started to work out together. And we developed this, like, me and Sledge work out like fucking animals, and we had this fucking mentality of, fuck yeah, we're getting after it every day. And everybody else kind of did their own thing, man. And that's when I started looking at people, you know, not just SEALs, but people very differently, man, because I bit into, like, you know, like, to be the special operator, you got to have broken legs, and these guys, all those stories. I was the same guy, man. I put people on a pedestal. I put people, I could never be them. I could never be that guy, man. Never put anybody on a pedestal. That's what happened to me. I put them on a pedestal, and once I got up there with them, and I saw them, and once again, not everybody. Some hard motherfuckers out there, dude. Period. Dot. Hard motherfuckers. I thought every motherfucker was hard. It ain't.
Uncommon amongst uncommon men.
That's all it was about for me, man. And I took it to another level, and I pissed a lot of motherfuckers off. And they were trying to find chinks in my armor then. They were trying to find chinks in my armor. You know, all he does is run. All he does is fucking run. That's why, you know, but once again, that's why I talk about the military too much. Like I said, the Air Force loved me. The Army guys I work with love me. The Ranger School, all that stuff love me. You know, I wasn't, you know, it's just what it is, man. I was part of the Navy SEALs. I was a team guy, but I wasn't part of the brotherhood. And that's just me, man. That's just me. It ain't saying nothing bad about them. I got a lot of love for a lot of them. A lot of men got love for me, but I ain't gonna talk bad about them. It's just, I'm different. And that's the thing I figured out. I'm different from everybody in the fucking world. And I had to own that and say, you know what, man, you made a lot of fucking mistakes being who you are. And I should have been more of a leader at times. But a lot of times, a lot of people should have been a little bit harder too.
So was it that some of those guys just didn't want to work as hard, or was it just that they weren't appreciating how competitive you were? You were always against them. Is that what it was? That it didn't foster the sense of brotherhood because you were more like, "Come on, pussy."
I didn't really call them pussies, but you can look at my face and how I looked at you, and you know you can kind of say this, you know. So what happens? I started developing this separation. Another thing about me too, man, is I don't go out. I don't party. I don't hang out with the guys. I don't, you know, so I was always forming this kind of separation. I'm a big time introvert. You know, I do my job and I don't want to see your fucking ass again. I'm gonna go home, refreshed, and we'll see you again. You know, you're in a platoon with these guys for two years, sometimes, a year and a half. And I would, you know, we work up, do our shit, and I was just a different fucking cat. I'm a different cat, man. Like you know, I think differently. I believe differently. And I believe strongly in what I believe in.
Well, some people must appreciate the fact that you were self-motivated and that you were pushing the envelope, that you were pushing the pace. You were setting a high bar.
Yeah, I have a lot of guys right now within the community, a lot of guys. Once again, this is like, it's like a big soap opera sometimes, man. When you're in a fraternity like that, that's what it's like, man. So I had to get a different vantage point, look at it, and see, like, you know, a lot of guys did respect who I was and what I did, and I brought it fucking hard a lot and every day, but I also rub people the wrong way. I'm like that itch you're talking about. I'm like that itch. You want to scratch the fuck out of my ass, you know what I'm saying? You want to, like, fuck this dude, man.
I love what you talked about. When you ran the marathon, you realized how much you were leaving on the table. Because that is, I think the unfulfilled potential is the story of most people's lives.
It is. And it could have been the story of mine. And I tell a lot of people go, what's your biggest fear in life? And my biggest fear, honestly, was, let's say this. Let's say I don't care if you believe in God or not. I don't care. So let's just play a game with me. Let's say you're God, and we have a big fucking long line of people. And I made it to heaven. I'm 75 years old. I'm 300 pounds. I made it to heaven. I worked for Ecolab my entire life, spraying for cockroaches. That's what I did. But I'm dead. I'm in heaven now. And you're judging us all now. So we're in line. We're all sitting there in line. And you have Adam Brown. He has a big board up, and you're talking to Adam Brown about his life. And you rip it down, and I'm next in line, David Goggins. I see my name, and I see all this shit, and God goes, hey, you say, read this, man. And I'm reading this list, and I'm seeing 182 pounds, Navy SEAL, Ranger School, motivational speaker, changing lives. Okay, man, pull-up record, all this shit. And I'm like, that's not me, man. And God looks at me and says, that's who you were supposed to be. And my biggest fear, I visualize some crazy shit. My biggest fear is that one day I'm going to reach a judgment of my life. Something's going to judge me for what the fuck I was supposed to be in life. And what I want now is that whoever's judged me up there, I want them to have a board and them up there right now getting their pen out. Because, this person who judges you is supposed to know everything. Supposed to know from the time you're dead to the time you're, time you're born, time you're dead. I want this person up there to be like this, up there writing more about me, saying, fuck, I know you could do that. I know you can do that. So I want to impress whatever the fuck is up there, whatever's going on in life. I want to go up there and not have anything left on the table. I want to drain my soul of every fucking bit of person I am.
Now, how do you plan on doing that, like going forward in the future? Do you have a plan?
Yeah, so what I did, I believe in going back to scratch. So a lot of us, like right now, I've come a long way in my life. I've had to grow up a lot, accept a lot of the fucking things I've done in my life. I'd accept a lot. I took all this information, big database, took it all. So what got me to be where I'm at today is data. I collect even more data now, which is why I can write this book, which is why I can tell people, hey, I fucking have a lot of faults. I have a mentality that can sometimes rub people the wrong, all this shit. So how you get better is, so right now I'm way up here now. I was way down here. But what makes you way up here is being from way down here. So I love going back. I call it, so when I was growing up for like 3 years, so from the time I was 8 to the time I was like 12, we lived in a $7 a month place. And what I call it is I'm always paying rent in that $7 a month home. Every day of my life. I go back and revisit that place because that place made me this Garanimal. That place made me this hard man. And then from that place, so that place is hard work. That place is going back to the fundamentals of life. The fundamentals of what made David Goggins. Going back in there, going back to the library of David Goggins, studying even more than what I know, taking that out, going back to where I'm at now, and then moving forward. So I believe in always taking steps backwards to your roots. We cannot forget the roots and what made us the Garanimal. We can never become civilized.
Isn't a Garanimal that like little kids' clothes?
It's little kids' clothes, but I love the word. I don't know if it's clothes or drinks. I don't know if it's clothes or drinks, man, but something like that.
So when you're living like right now, like what kind of goals are you setting, and how are you feeding that beast inside of you? How are you calming all that down?
Stretching's helped a lot, So when you wire yourself up so much, yoga and stretching has really helped me to you want to be quiet in your mind to see where you want to go, because noise is the ultimate kryptonite.
Yeah.
Too much noise in your mind, you're not going to be focused on what the task at hand is.
It's one of the things that I found that like long cardio is the best thing ever for calming that noise.
Yes.
We all talked about that, all the guys that I did that Sober October thing with, the fitness challenge, that like if you work out 5 hours a day, you don't give a fuck.
No.
It's amazing. I'm like, if you could take that and put it in a pill form, how you feel about life after you work out 5 hours.
Yep.
We don't give a fuck. Nothing bothers you. Like,
nothing.
Fuck you.
Nothing.
Because you've struggled.
True. My fiance right now, she's like, hey, I got X, Y, and Z. I'm like, I'll take you. She's like, what? You want to look at shoes? I'll take you. Like, what? I'm like, I just worked out for 4 hours, man. I'll fucking sit down in this motherfucking chair all day long, son.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm chill.
It's different.
Yeah, I get all that shit out. I wring the rag out in the morning time, and whatever you want to do, I'm here, man.
Most people never get there, though.
No.
They always have that chatter.
Always
Negative anger of the guy who cut you off yesterday at 3
all
o'clock.
day
Still
long.
in your head.
Yep, all day long, man.
Yeah.
Chatter all day long.
Chatter. Maybe I should do this. Maybe I should have done that. I should have never let that guy get away with that.
Exactly.
I should have done this. I should have taken that job.
Yep.
I should have moved. I should have stuck with her. I should have done all that.
That was me, man.
Yeah,
that was
a
me.
lot of people.
Yeah. Why don't people like me?
It's amazing that long cardio just calms that chatter like that, though.
Yes.
Like I never until October, I'd never really done long cardio every day.
It beats that testosterone up, man.
Beats everything up.
Yeah, that you're like fucking done.
Yeah.
You're cool.
Yeah.
You're cool, man.
It's not just that. It's like I always talk about people's brains that I think that the way people's minds work, that we're like a battery that's like leaking out. It's like, since we don't use it, because we have all this potential, we don't use it, like it oozes off the top of the battery and it gets messy.
Right.
It's going down the sides of the battery. It's all fucked up.
Yep.
But when you just drain that bitch, like nature intended, like give you the potential to run away from predators, avoid invading tribes, and to fight and gather and hunt, and all the physical potential that your body is capable of. When you do drain it with like a 10-mile run or long cardio session, long workout session, then you can just be you.
It's the great purge, man.
The purge.
It's the purge. You purge all that fucking demon shit out, man. All the evil. Evil can't stay in a 10-mile run, bro. It's gonna get leaked right the fuck out.
It does. It gets pounded out.
Pounded out.
Yeah, but you can see things more clearly. And that is only available through effort. I mean, maybe it's available through meditation. I don't know. But I feel like there's a different thing that's available through effort, because there's also a satisfaction of accomplishment.
Oh, yeah. Effort's huge, man. It means everything. Because you got to feel good about yourself.
Now, do you plan out your future?
I do. So I'm very goal. So I have that accountability mirror, but I also plan out all my small, big time, medium goals, all these things I have to do in life. I'm a big planner. So, right now I'm going back to scratch. So I'm trying to be a wildland firefighter. I did that for a couple seasons.
You gonna do that now?
Yeah. So I did it for 2, not full season, but 2 half seasons. So this year was my second year doing it. I had to stop about 2 months before it ended because of this book, to start promoting the book and start finishing the book up. But I've been doing that for 2. That's some fucking work, man. Those fucking guys get after.
What made you decide to do that?
The work, like when your hands stop becoming really calloused, it's time to get back to work. Like I retired from the military. I did 21 years in the military. The military was my life. Loved everything about it, the discipline of it. There's something about going back, and the money you make is nil. It's not about the money at all. It's just about the hard work. I've always been looking for those people, like those guys, like you're out there digging a 3-mile fire line. Literally a 3-mile fire line. You're cutting down these fucking huge ass trees to dig this fire line, and the fire line is like 20 to 18 inches for 3 miles, and you got like fucking 12 people digging this shit. And I'm out there thinking, man, this is some of the hardest fucking work I've done in my life, and it's that challenge that you can't find sometimes by going to the gym or by running, a 100-mile race. It's that new challenge of like, hey, and you get done digging, all right. You work 17 hours, 16, 17 hours. You get your fucking little fucking sleeping mat out, shack down, boom, right there on the floor, right there on the ground. Get up, dig some more. Be out there 2-3 weeks sometimes, man, it's doing that shit. And there's great satisfaction in the kind of work that you do out there. No one's watching. No one gives a fuck. It's hard, dangerous fucking work. And, you're doing it to help shit out, man.
How did you get drawn into that?
So I got drawn into it because I was always looking for the next challenge. And I was like, hey, what is there after the military? What the fuck is there, man? I'm 43. I'm getting back in shape, I'm fucking getting these health issues taken care of that I had. And I started, once again, Google's amazing shit. Hardcore fucking jobs, pretty much, hard ass fucking, that's how I found the horse, like the first race, hardest races in the world. So basically, I started finding this wildland firefighting. Like, what the fuck is wildland firefighting? Started Googling that. Started Googling smoke jumpers. I'm like, what the fuck these guys do? What? They jump out of planes and attack small fires. I'm like, that's the shit. So I'm like, okay, we can put down a list. And okay, hot shots. What's a hot shot do? They go out with, big fires and they dig fire line. I'm like, fuck, what's dig fire line? And I saw a video of it. I'm like, that shit looks like it sucks. It's hot. You're out there on your own. You're out there on your own, man, just digging fire lines. So that's kind of how I found it. I'm always looking for the next challenge. I'm never satisfied with, I did that. Like, I became a SEAL. I was an Air Force guy. I became a SEAL. I went to Ranger School. I tried out for Delta Force twice. I'm always looking for what is next, looking for those uncommon men and women, uncommon people, because I'm trying to grow. I'm trying to grow. And a lot of times, you don't want to be the only person that's making yourself grow. You're looking for those Cameron Haneses, those Joe Rogans, those people who are like just different. People who understand what the fuck you're saying, because a lot of things I have to say, I can't say them all. You may not understand them. So I had to really find a way to communicate with people so they don't think, oh my God, like, what? What did you just say? So these Cameron Haneses, these Joe Rogan, these people get it. So I go in those little nucleus spots, get a little more strength, get a little more knowledge, get a little more tools. Take those tools with me, put in my tool shed, and I go off down the road on a new journey. So that's what I do.
Well, the proof is in the pudding if you're really doing woodland firefighting, because there's no glory in that.
No, sir.
No, there's no fame. There's no one taking pictures of you.
No, and that paycheck is small, son. I'm a fucking make you want to. Should I eat today?
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah. There's nothing involved in that, man. They work their ass off.
So, but you're just doing it as a challenge.
That's it.
Did they freak out when you're there?
You know what? I think they're wondering, why is a 43-year-old retired man, all the stuff you've done, why are you out here?
Yeah.
And I explain it to them when I'm out here. I'm out here to learn from you all, to grow, and also to never forget where I came from. That's where it starts. It's that mentality of, I'm going to pick up that fucking Pulaski and I'm going to dig this fucking fire line for 3 damn miles. That's that mentality I never want to lose. I never want to get so nice with, oh, yeah, I did it, man. I did it. I'm good. That mentality of, I'm willing to pick up that shovel and I'm willing to dig a 3-mile line, there's something about that mentality that I'm ready to go to work at any time. And that's what keeps me, those are the sparks. Like, I look at motivation as just a spark. It's like kindling. How a big fire starts, it starts with a little smoke. It starts with a little cigarette being thrown in the woods. Next thing you know, all California's fucking burn up. That's what I've been doing my whole life, is I find these little sparks. And once that little thing takes off, that's a 1-hour fuel. Then you got 10-hour fuel. Then you can move that thing to a 10,000-hour fuel. These big logs and big trees that burn for days. And that's where you want to bring that motivation. That's where you want to bring that drive. So if you have no kindling, the kindling is me going out with these young guys saying, all right, motherfucker, you're 43. It's a 20-year-old. Keep up with them. That kindling now, when I leave those young guys, it has now become that 10-hour fuel. And now that 10,000-hour fuel that I use throughout my whole life. I use that throughout my whole life, man. Hey, this summer at 43, you went out there and you did that, man. So, you're not giving up yet. You're not done yet. Not today. You're not done today.
That's a crazy choice to make, though. Woodland firefighter is a very interesting choice.
It is. It's a nasty job, man.
Because, again, that's proof of concept. Like, you're really just doing just for the struggle.
That's it.
Is there other things you considered like that?
So I applied for smoke jumping this year. So I'll be out smoke jumping this year, God willing. That's where it's at now. That right now is my next military. That's my next military. And it's always about human growth. And it's not about money. It's not about money. Human growth. That's the biggest, like I said, my biggest trophy. That's why I turned down $300,000. The biggest trophy in life is what I've learned. Like this brain, if I could put this brain in somebody's head and say, here you go, Merry Christmas, they'd be a happy person. What I found out is that with no crowds, no one cheering for you, no races, no finish line, it's an amazing, amazing thing I've learned in my mind by no one cheering you on. Like what that is every morning I do what I do, I don't have a trainer waking me up. There's no one saying, David, you have to do this. I don't have to do anything anymore. I've done it. That's the beauty of all of this. Knowing that everything I talk about, no one even knows what the fuck I'm doing every day. And I know that I am grinding like a motherfucker. They see a 1-minute video of me running or some bullshit. Hopefully it motivates you. Merry Christmas. Dude, I'm out there for fucking hours every fucking day, and no one sees what the fuck I'm doing. No one. It's a great, beautiful thing, man.
That is the beautiful thing about it, right? That you really are just doing it for the benefits of it.
That's it.
That you have to do it that way. It's not for show. Like, there's a lot of people, like, you'll see, like, they have, like, a little video they do on Instagram. Like, bitch, you are not doing that for very long.
No.
You're going too fast.
That's it. That's it.
This is not real.
I got my 1 minute on.
Yeah.
Tape now.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. It's so much of it for show.
Right.
I do enjoy those videos that you're doing on Instagram, though, where
I
you're
appreciate
giving, like,
it.
these little motivational things. I put some of them up on my page.
I appreciate you, man.
reposted it. Those are great, man. Like, are you just like, do you just get a thought in your head while you're out there running and you just want to get it down?
Yeah, so what I'll do is my fiance does all these videos, man. So God bless her. Sometimes it'll be 3 o'clock in the fucking morning. And I'll be working out. And I say, hey, wake the fuck up. I got some shit. And she's like, what? I go, hey, man, it came to me, man. I got some shit for these people, man. So that's what happens. Like, usually when I'm working out, I get this great inspiration. Some people might think it's bullshit, but my mind works best under extreme pain and suffering. Like when I'm like, God, I want to be out here. And that's when I'm going deep into the cellar of my mind. And that's when all that gargoyle shit starts to come up, man. You know what I'm saying? And so she gets called out all the time, like, hey, I'll run home and say, hey, get the car, meet me at 17th Street, because by that time I have all my shit together. So that's how this happens, man. It's not like a rehearsed thing. That's why sometimes I may post on Monday. Usually it's like every Monday, but sometimes it's Tuesday, sometimes it's Thursday. You know, and that's what I do. I'm trying to now give back to people in a way that's real and authentic and just being me.
What has the response been like? Like, after you did the podcast the first time, what was the response like? And what is the response like on social media?
Well, what's crazy, man, is that you are my Usher and I'm fucking Bieber. That's the fucking response, man. So your crowd, for some reason, they resonate with me. They understand. They get me, and they love the message. And like, so if you put some bullshit up on my site, I block and delete your ass. This ain't a playground. Like my site, I'm not fucking around with you motherfuckers. I want to give you some tools that I learned. If you want to take them, take them. If not, Merry Christmas. I'll go on my merry way. I don't care. So if you go on there, you want to play around, and you want to, you know, what they call it, those people go on site. Troll. Fuck, you ain't trolling my shit. I'm going to block your monkey ass off my shit quick. I've developed.
Tell your friends, Jamie.
Yeah, tell them. So I've developed like a small community of people who can go in there, and it's not just me talking. So people have now joined in, and I've seen people lose 150 pounds on my site, man. Like, and they're writing about it, and they're starting to break themselves down like I broke myself down. They're like, hey, I went through this divorce, and this happened, and I tried to kill myself. It gets raw. And then people are now going on and commenting on their shit saying, hey, keep it up, do what you're doing. It's become like a big fucking like, hey, it's a community of people trying to fucking get better. And that's what it's about, man. This ain't about the David Goggins fucking show. No, man, I'm Mr. Kingling. You motherfuckers take this shit and let it shit burn.
Also, you probably need all these other people out there grinding too for fuel.
Oh, man.
You want to know.
That's the thing now. Like, people go, what motivates you now? What motivates me now is that there's over 600 some odd thousand people looking at me saying, motherfucking Goggins is somewhere out there. He's somewhere out there fucking getting after it. And I am. So you ain't never fucking alone. I'm out there somewhere, 600 some thousand people. There's a chance that when you're working out, I don't care if you're in fucking Washington, D.C. and I'm in Nashville, there's a good chance at the same time we're getting after it. And I want people to know that. And it's the real deal. We are getting after it together. Not no like happy family shit, but we're getting after it. You know?
Yeah, well, that's giant for people, man. That the sense of community and to know that there's like-minded folks out there that are also trying to improve, that trying to overcome their own demons, get past their own bullshit, squash their own weaknesses, callous up their own minds.
I love that. It's not time for some soft shit. It's not time for soft shit, man. This isn't the fucking playground. Don't come on my Instagram, Facebook, or Twitter talking some bullshit. Come on, if you wanna join the community and get hard and see what you're about, don't talk about rest. How do you do it? No, let's fucking stop thinking so much and let's put the shoes on and get grinding.
You do get some of that, though. There's some comments that say, this is terrible advice. Rest and recovery is the most important thing.
Oh, my God. Block. Delete. You ain't on my shit, son. You're not going to last. Not on my site. Yeah. I want to hear that shit.
There's a lot of people looking for built-in excuses.
They are, man.
They are. Mm-hmm. They're looking for it. But then there's a lot of people also that are just really interested in personal growth. They're interested in really finding out what they're made of. They're interested in improving their ability to toughen up and to discipline themselves. And they're looking for people like you and other people just to add to that momentum.
Right.
Like once you get going, it's easier to keep going.
That's it, man.
Once you get going, it's easier to keep showing up.
It is. You have to get past that hurdle.
Yeah.
And once you get past it, man, you're flying.
And then you see other people that are doing it too, and you realize like this is a movement. There's a lot of other people out there.
It is a movement.
Yeah.
It is a movement.
Well, that's the thing that resonates with you, I think, about the audience of this podcast, that I've had quite a few people on that have that same message, and it resonates with people because we're all trying to improve ourselves. No one's perfect.
Nope.
I'm not perfect now. I never will be. You're not, and you never will be, but you're better than you were yesterday, and you're going to be better tomorrow.
That's the true statement right there, man. And that's what that book says. I am not fucking perfect, man. But I had the balls to now finally tell you all, I am very flawed.
But in that saying that you're very flawed and saying that you're very perfect, you exhibit way more strength than someone who bullshits and pretends.
Right.
Someone who puts up some fake ass fucking fake facade of perfection, of moral integrity and growth and honesty, and those people are a real problem.
It's exhausting.
It's exhausting.
How the fuck do you, I did it for a while. I'm like, I can't. Hey, I'm fucked up. I give up.
Yeah.
I quit. I'm fucked up. I'm going to tell you all, I can't do this anymore. This is who I am.
But the confidence of you of constantly grinding and constantly putting in that work is what leads you to be able to express yourself so honestly.
Oh, you're right. I for the first time believe in David Goggins. And I don't care who else believes in me. I don't care. For the first time in my life, man, I can tell you all my fucked up shit. And without lying.
That's powerful.
No longer care.
That's powerful. See, everybody could get to that. Then you don't have any excuses because you don't need any.
That's right. You don't need any. None. You don't like me? Merry Christmas. Shit. Kwanzaa.
Keep moving.
That's it. Go.
Yeah.
That's it.
Good luck to you. Keep moving.
Exactly.
Yeah, we're all in this thing together. Yeah, but you got your own path. You're the one who has to stare at those shoes for 30 minutes.
That's it. Every day. That's so true, man. That's so true.
So fire jumping and woodland firefighting. I didn't expect that. I didn't hear that coming.
Yeah.
That's interesting, man.
Yep.
And what did you have any other options that you were looking at before you dived into those?
You know what? Those are the first that came up because I saw how hard it was. Like at 43 in these jobs, like in the military, you're a dinosaur, time to retire. And wildland firefighting, you start to move into these desk jobs. Mm-hmm. And that was the challenge of it. I'm like a fucking rookie at 43.
Right.
So I'm like being talked like a little bitch. So it takes a lot for me. I'm like, yeah, I've done some things, man. Hang on now. But I have to now humble myself again.
Right.
It's hard to humble yourself. You got some 21-year-old little punk ass bitch saying, hey, pick up that shit and come on. I'm like, what the fuck did you say? I'm like, but I'm like, okay, Goggins, like you're a rookie, man. Like, so that's all the training behind the mindset of it all.
Right.
Is that you can't ever be the point where you never learn from people.
Right.
You have to always humble yourself and go back to that. Yeah, like right now, there's people listening to this podcast like, oh, yeah, you're great, Goggins. No, you ain't shit, Goggins. And that's the mindset I always want to have. Not like I'm not proud of myself, but you have to always keep that, like, I want to keep that dog in me. Mm-hmm. And I can't always know everything.
Yeah, well, being a beginner at something is fantastic for
it's
everything.
Amazing.
Learning new things is fantastic for everything else.
So much growth in that.
Do you fuck around with martial arts?
You know what? I learned a little bit. I've never gotten crazy in it. I boxed a little bit.
Where do you live?
I live in Nashville.
There's a lot of jiu-jitsu in Nashville. You should get involved in jiu-jitsu. You would take to it like a duck to water. I'll find you a spot.
Yeah, 100%. Hook me up. Yeah, hook me up,
I'll
man.
find you a spot. You get obsessed with that shit.
Oh God,
Because that's a never-ending pile of fucking tangled bodies and strangled people.
Here we go.
Because it's something that you just get better at all the time, and there's no hiding.
Right.
Either you get choked or you don't. Either you survive or you don't.
Now I've been in a lot of ground.
Yeah.
I've been in a lot of ground games, man, but I've never really learned the skill sets.
Yeah.
So it'd be nice to do that.
I'll hook it up.
Yeah, please do.
I think you would get obsessed with it. The same way Jocko's obsessed with it. The same way a lot of other SEALs get obsessed with martial arts.
It would be nice to do it.
Because it's also constant competition as well. I mean, you can get into competition every single night of the week.
Really?
And yeah, absolutely. And as a guy who's just starting out, you're going to be a white belt. You're going to get strangled a lot. You want to
choke the fuck out.
Yeah. You want to start from the beginning. You're going to start from the beginning 100%.
Right.
There's plenty of guys your size. There's plenty of guys that have been doing it for fucking decades.
I know a lot of guys like to take their hands on me, so I'll be good.
Yeah.
Oh, Goggins, you coming, huh? Okay. Okay.
But it's also a good thing to have the kind of cardio and endurance you have, too.
Yeah, that's where I get people at. So I've rolled with a lot of guys who have skills, but the thing that I really have, and I'm not going to brag on it, man, is I got a fucked up cardio base, man. And my mentality is kind of fucked up, too.
Yeah.
So I realized that with fighting, that if you got a big cardio base and your mindset's fucked up, too,
cardio is almost everything.
That's what I know.
Skills are everything because a lot of guys with skills also have some cardio. They have enough to fuck you up.
Right.
But to have tremendous cardio with big skills is everything.
I see him out there, man, dying.
Yeah, because so many guys start at 100%, but 3 minutes into the fight, they're at 80.
Right.
5 minutes into the fight, they're at 60.
That's right.
And then they recover for a minute, they come back. But if you are in like a rolling session, like when you roll for 9 minutes straight. So you and this guy, and there's most of the time there's multiple taps.
Right.
Like you'll tap him, he'll tap you, you tap each other. But 9 minutes, man, it is exhausting. When that bell goes off, the last, the bell for 30 seconds, and you got 30 seconds left in 9 minutes, and then ding, ding, it's over. You're like, fuck.
You're done.
And then you take a minute off, and you find a new partner.
That's good shit.
Get back in there. You'd love it.
It sounds like a good grind.
Yeah.
That's the next grind right there.
You love it. Yeah.
That's
Get your black belt.
Hey, so long does that take about if I went like this hard at it?
It's hard to say. Because it depends entirely upon how much emphasis you put on learning new techniques and rolling and drilling. Drilling is gigantic, and that's the thing that people don't like to do. Because jiu-jitsu is so fun, people like to just roll. Right. Because it's sparring is where it's at. Like, I don't want to do all this practice. I want to choke people. Right. Like, I knew a few things. Like, do that. Okay. And then I do this. Okay. Let me get in there. And then it's like a lot of jiu-jitsu schools, they'll start out with like one or two techniques, and then you roll. Most of the class is just sparring. Right. But the right way to do it really is to drill way more than you spar. Okay. You should be drilling all the time, and live drilling too. Like you start out where a guy has your back, ready, go. And then from there, you got to try to escape and do it the right thing to try to use the right technique to get out of that position. Or you'll start out with an arm bar, but he's defending, and you got to figure out how to extend it. Right. You know, and those live drills, straight drills, like technique drills, and then live drills are, I think, even more important in the beginning to your personal development and growth as a jiu-jitsu player than even sparring. But a guy like you, who's smart and tough and will go crazy, shit, it shouldn't take that long. It takes people. I mean, it depends on how much you dedicate yourself to it. Right, right. BJ Penn got his black belt in 3 years. What? Yeah, but it's crazy. He's BJ Penn. He's they call him the prodigy for a reason. Right, right. I had a conversation with him about it, though. It was really interesting once. He goes, he was talking to some other dude, and the guy said, I got my black belt at 3 years just like you did, BJ. And he's like, wow, man. He goes, you must be good. He goes, no, man. He goes, I'm addicted, just like you. He goes, you were addicted. You're addicted. And he's like, I never thought about it that way. He goes, yeah, I'm addicted to jiu-jitsu. It's like you're addicted, like it takes over your mind. Right, it's everything. Your days are spent thinking about some guy who triangled you. This motherfucker, how'd he get me? Shit. Like I get that. Dude, I got choked out 10 years ago that I think about sometimes when I'm lifting. I'll be tired and I'll think about a guy who caught me 10 years ago. I'm like, fuck! Yeah, and I'll just,
That's what's great about life, man.
Yeah.
Is I think about not being choked out, but I think about a lot of shit like that.
Yeah, little failures that just keep you pushing.
They grind on me like a motherfucker, man.
And that's what you were talking about earlier too. It's like the mind has these reserves. You can trick it and pull them out.
Yes.
These inspirational reserves, like you did when you guys were going through buds.
Yes.
We just found that trigger, and then all of a sudden you're throwing that boat in the air.
The mind always has the tactical advantage over you. Why is that? It knows your fears.
Yeah.
It knows your insecurities. It knows where they're hiding.
You can't hide.
You can't hide from that motherfucker, man. That motherfucker has a tactical advantage on you, son. That's going to get you, man. It's a beast.
That might be your best lesson, right? That your mind knows everything. You cannot hide from it, so don't ever try.
Don't try. You might as well go ahead and beat that motherfucker up. You got to keep going at it.
That's also what you did in this book. You didn't try to, like, paint yourself in a glamorous or flattering way at any point in time. You were honest at every step of the way, which I think is just gigantic for people too, because you can tell when someone's stroking themselves or bullshitting themselves, and the message just won't come through.
Right.
But you come through in this book. You know, like who you are and what you became and how you became who you are and who you used to be and why you were the way you used to be. All that comes through. It's like there's no filter. This is just your thoughts, like what you remember about your life and what you think about right now. Just all comes out onto the pages.
Hardest thing I've done my entire life.
I'm imagining.
I have I don't know how many people buy this book. Then I walk up to people walk up to me. I'm like, what are you thinking about, motherfucker? Are you thinking about me peeing in the bed? No, sir? You fucking ass. What are you thinking about?
Oh, that's hilarious. I know, right? Like you like.
What are you thinking about, man?
You opened it up all.
Yeah, you know all about me. Hey, how about you, motherfucker? Tell me something about you.
That's what people love, right? When they know some shit about you and you don't know nothing about them.
I know nothing about nobody.
That's anonymous trolls.
That's it, man. And they get at me. They come.
Oh, there's a lot of those. But they're all doing that to themselves. They don't even understand. When you do that, you're doing it to yourself.
Right.
If you are attacking someone because you know that they have a weakness, but you're pretending you don't have one, you are attacking yourself. You are chipping away at your own personal sovereignty. You're chipping away at your own respect.
So true, man.
You can't respect yourself. You know you're a pussy. You're talking shit.
But that's what happened, though, Joe, to me. I start looking at people realizing I know something about you. Because they don't want to talk about it.
Right.
I already know it.
Yeah.
If you're talking shit about me, I know you're fucked up.
Yeah.
That's why all these cats that come out right now who don't like me or whatever, I'm like, really, man? That shit happened 30 fucking years ago, 15 years ago. You're still fucked up about that? Oh, man. I know something about you, brother. See, I get over everything. I'm good. It's water under the fucking bridge.
The grind.
It's the grind does that.
Squeezes it
That's
out.
it. You're not grinding hard enough. If you're worried about something that someone did to you years ago, you're being a pussy to yourself, man. You're not getting out there and squeezing that fucking soul out every day.
Yeah.
If you grind hard, man, I ain't got time to worry about your monkey ass. I ain't got time to worry about you, man. Because tomorrow, I got to go back to the grind. And tomorrow, I got to go back to the grind again and again and again and again. I don't have time to put you into the hate bank. There's no hate. It's all filtered out, man, through the grind. People don't get it. There's great joy in the grind. Great joy in the suffer. It totally cleanses your body out, man, of any kind of hate. Makes you grow up.
It's also the being honest about it every step of the way you are in this book and the way you talk about things and not trying to paint yourself in a flattering way.
No.
It forces you to continue to perform.
Right.
By exposing all the shit that you used to do, by exposing your procrastination, your slips, your fallings, your falling back down and getting fat again, all that stuff, it forces you to be consistent. Like, you did it today. Do you know you're going to be able to do it tomorrow? Well, you have to. You have to know.
That's
you
right.
have to know.
And that's my biggest fear, man, is that I know I can slip. Everybody goes, man, you're not permanent? Shit.
No one's permanent.
No one's fucking permanent,
That's
man.
why people that have accomplished great things and then want to talk about those great things to the end of time and not do anything anymore, they're fucking themselves up.
That's it.
Those people that are looking for that golden age, they're looking for that holding hands and walking off into the sunset as the credits roll. That doesn't exist.
It's not tattooed, man.
It's not real.
I thought it was tattooed. I was like, fuck, I'm slipping. I'm like, what? I put all this repetition in, I'm still slipping? can't take a day off, man. Can't take a day off, man.
No days?
Can't take a day off.
7 days a week.
I get after it. But see, the thing about I do active recovery.
Right. Okay. So what's a light active recovery day? You say 7 days, 7 miles is normal.
An easy 6 mile run.
That's
an active recovery day
Jesus
at a low heart rate. I look like I'm walking. I'm out there like a fucking 9:30, 10-minute mile. Heart rate's real low. I'm really big into the heart rate training, man. It's amazing. So it makes you a machine. It makes you a machine, man.
How so? In what way?
It trains your heart in a way that the way I was able to run these 100-mile races like I was able to do it was off of heart rate. So if you go at 80%, for me, for the longest time, it was like 100, like 147 heart rate, 148 to 152, right around in there. If I maintain that, man, I'm burning that nice fat storage. And that body wants to utilize that. And it wants to burn that nice and slow. And you're never getting that heart rate up real high. Because when you get the heart rate up real high, it takes a lot to recover from that. And the higher it goes, the longer it takes for it to come down. When I stay at a 145, 146, 147 heart rate for a long time, when I get done running, it will go back under 100 within 2 or 3 minutes. And that's what you want. You want that quick recovery. So quick recovery means that your body's right on point. And I look at my heart rate in the morning time, it's usually in the 30s. If it's like 45, 46, 47, I'm overtrained. Easy day. Easy day means zone 1. Zone 1 means I'm just going real light today. So I train every day because why? As my mind and as a human, we're supposed to move. Every day is supposed to move. And I'm not saying get after it every day. Get after it means just do something every day.
Right.
Ride a bike. Like if you're real tired from working out hard, ride an easy bike, spin. And as you're spinning, take in your fluids. Rehydrate your body as you're active, because that's the best way to rehydrate your body. And like taking a carbohydrate drink, it gets all that good carbs. You start to glycogen store your body again for the next day. So as you're doing active stuff, that blood's flowing, nice active blood flow. Nice active blood flow helps the recovery process. Along with drinking some like endurance drink or some carbohydrate drink, it gets all that glycogen through the system back to the muscles, loads them back up again, ready to fight another war tomorrow.
What do you use for a heart rate monitor?
I used to use Polar for a long time, and I kind of still use Polar now.
Is it a wrist one or a chest strap?
It's a chest strap. It's a nice, cheap little chest strap. And now I'm at the point now where I know I only do my heart rate in the morning time. I don't even wear it when I run anymore.
Do you check it with the strap in the morning, or
yeah,
do you
check
do
with
it
the strap.
with your finger?
Check with the strap.
So you wake up, you just put the strap on?
Before you get out of bed, put the strap on your body. The first thing you do, put the strap on, or do your finger, whatever one you can do. If you don't have a strap, do your finger. Know what your average heart rate is, your resting heart rate. And then from there, if it's a little bit high, a little elevated, you can't go off into that zone 3, zone 4 training day. You got to keep it at zone 2 or zone 1. So it's all about the heart rate, the resting heart rate.
So when you use it, the chest strap, does it register on an application, on a phone? Like how do you read it?
On the watch.
On a watch. Is it a smart watch or is it a Polar watch?
It's just a Polar watch.
So it's a watch that shows you the heart rate that's reading off of the strap.
Exactly. That's all it does.
And so when you say zone 1s, these are the things that you've created? Zone 1, zone 2?
No, these are like zones that's whoever created this, like the heart rate zone training. So basically what I did and what's helped me out so much is my zone 2 training runs used to be an 8:30. Okay? So that was my pace at like a 145.
8:30 mile?
Yep, 8:30 mile. Through stretching and get my body opened up, my zone 2 run now is about a 721, 718, 719.
So you cut a minute off just by opening up your range of motion.
Opening up my range of motion.
Wow.
Unbelievable. At the same exact heart rate. So my stride, if people look at videos of me like years ago when I was first doing my first Badwater, I was scooting. I had it was so tight. I was this very rigid runner. Now I actually run. Everything was so tight. Everything was kind of like forming in. I was like kind of like my knees and my joints just going inward. Now everything's right, where it needs to be at, and I have a nice long, nice stride.
Do you run on the street for the most part?
For the most part, because I'm always traveling. So the best thing you do, you get your running shoes, you get your shit, you just go out and run. But I try to hit the trails, some dirt as much as possible.
Yeah.
So it's really good for your body. But now my body's like fucking fucking like iron. I mean, it can take some beating.
Now, when you run, have you ever fucked with those barefoot running shoes or minimalist?
Hell no. Hell no.
Hell no.
You know what? Like, look, honestly, I don't know many people who have been. I just don't believe in it. I don't believe in it. I was born with shoes, wearing shoes my whole fucking life. I'm not, I'm black, but I'm not from Africa. You know what I'm saying? So, I'm not down, man. I'm not down.
Do you ever read the science behind it?
Oh,
the idea of like using all the muscles in your feet?
Yeah. I read the science behind it. I also read the science behind these motherfuckers having broken feet and shit. I read that too.
But minimalist shoes on trails aren't bad.
Yeah, they're not. I'm not doing it.
No?
No, man. I will break. Oh my God, man. No.
I run in those things all the time.
Really? So you like them?
Yeah.
It would kill me, man.
But I tell you what, I ran in fat tires yesterday, Under Armour fat tire, which is like a cushiony ass shoe.
You like it?
And I was like, it was so easy.
It's like those
so
hookahs, whatever.
No. Under Armour has these fat tires. It's basically like a BMX tire track. I think it's even made by a tire company makes the tread. Yeah, man, it's got a mush to it. And you run in these things, man. You could run over. See, the thing about those 5-finger barefoot shoes,
right?
I like running those, but you got to look where you're stepping. You can't step on any hard rocks.
Game over.
You'll fuck up your foot.
Yeah, quick.
Because it's like it's going to go right into your foot. It's a tiny little thin. So I went from those to Vivo barefoot shoes. That's what it looks like. So when you run on those bitches, that is a cushiony, glorious padding. Like when you hit the ground, it's like smushy, smushy, smush. I had the other ones, Jamie, the ones with the boa. It's because it's just like got that little click one that you just pull up. Yeah, like those. So it's like you twist it with that. That's how you tighten it up with that little boa adjuster thing. It's like got a thread through it, so you don't have to lace it or anything like that. You just slip them on and pop that sucker down.
I like to feel the ground a little bit when I run.
Yeah, you're barely feeling shit with those.
Yeah, you ain't feeling nothing.
Cloud.
Yeah.
But I like it.
It's got to be good for your joints.
Yeah. Oh, my joints didn't bother me at all yesterday, which is crazy. Like after a good solid run, because most of what I'm running is hills.
Right.
Like pretty steep. And it's great. My ass and legs never been bigger.
What do you weigh right now?
200.
Yeah, you're a thick dude, man.
Yeah. So for me, the pounding of the constant pounding with the feet to the ground, it is it's rough on the ankles, it's rough on the joints, but I don't feel it at all with those fat tires. It was smushy. Like I got done running, I felt like I cheated. I did. I felt like, wow, this is so much easier.
The cloud shoes.
Yeah, they're this just real cushiony. And Cam's always said that he runs with those a lot.
Oh, does he?
Yeah, he's run with a bunch of those. Because he runs so many fucking miles. He was running a marathon a day, like pretty much every day.
I did that for a while. Bad. I was, shit. My God, I got wired in doing that shit, man.
What is this right here?
So this is
trying to find this.
This is when I ran a 150-mile trail race. So the year before, I did the same race. It's a 150-mile trail race. I did it in, I think, around 40 hours, and I had to walk the last 60 miles. I had pneumonia. Here we go. Yeah, I walked. And then I told the race director, hey, motherfucker, I'm coming back here next year, and I'm breaking the course record. I went back and did it in like 32 hours.
Wow.
Same race.
Wow. Now when you
33 hours.
So when you're running, what shoes do you use?
Right now, I'm wearing Brooks, and I also wear Asics. So it just depends on what kind of train I'm in, where I'm at, stuff like that.
Like for trails? What do you run for trails?
I actually, for the longest time, I wore a street running shoe.
Really?
For trails. Yeah, for the longest time.
How come?
Because first of all, my body was so messed up. The only shoe I could ever wear was this Brooks Addiction. And I hate even giving Brooks credit right now, because back in the day, they want to help a brother out. I was running so many miles. Yeah, so Brooks, I'm not promoting Brooks right now. Yeah, Merry Christmas on that one. I called him up a million times. Hey, man, can I get like a discount or some shit? Hang up, nobody, nothing. So, but they do have a good shoe, and it was
just not good PR.
Horrible PR, man. You know what I'm saying? But I love their shoe. But the only shoe I could wear was that Brooks Addiction, because my biomechanics was so messed up. I tried so many different shoes, and that was so I can now wear a neutral shoe. So how I used to run. And very few people know this. I used to have heel wedges inserts, heel wedges, and get compression tape because my body was pushed so far in from being so tight in my hip flexors so how I got such bad stress fractures was my biomechanics. So there's a picture of my toe in there because my toes just jammed in front of my shoes because my whole body just got this like bent in.
So when you're saying bent in, for people who are just listening, if your hands are flat on a table, you're turning the outside of your hands
in
up so that your thumbs are going down.
Those are my so
that's
my
like
thumbs
your
are
big toes were going down.
We're going down and into the shoe.
And the outside of your foot was above it.
Right. So what I had to do to run because I was like, God, I got stress fractures all the time. And my feet were so fucked up.
Sometimes you see that with people's shoes, like how they're worn out.
They're
worn out on a sideways angle, like a wedge.
Right.
Like if you look at it from behind. They're
crazy.
Yeah.
That was my shoe. So I had to get a heel wedge to keep my heel from going down. I had severe tendonitis in the back of my ankle.
So you had to make it thicker on one side.
That's right.
Just to force
on
your
the
foot
inside.
to be flat.
Right. So the inside, I had to push up and I had to get compression tape. So it was compression tape, heel wedges, and an insert. And that's how I ran every fucking day.
Now, did you go to a running coach or anything?
Hell no.
But didn't you want to know what you were doing wrong?
You know what, man? That was part of that Garanimal mindset, man. I was like, fuck it, man. I'm supposed to be broken. You know? But then I got smarter as time went and said, you know, man, this is some painful shit. Running 100-mile races with this kind of tendonitis and my feet being fucked up, it was so painful. So I was like, you know what? So then as I started stretching, I was like, my God, all this was from having a tight. I got so massive. My God, I was in all these different contraptions, and now I just wear a normal running shoe.
Wow.
Yeah. So I went from being contraptioned up, man, like literally contraptioned up.
So it's all just the stretching that opened up the range of motion and balanced everything out.
Now, when people talk about range of motion, they don't understand how tight I was. Like. No one understands, like, when you repeatedly do what I was doing to myself and you were born with the stress I was born under, like, I can't paint a clear, it's pretty clear in the book, man, my life was bad. The stress I endured on a daily, so I had two people and my body was proof of literally what my life was doing to me. It literally was knotted all my muscles up because I was always under this fight or flight. You know, my dad had made me so fucking scared of shit. You know, to unwind this motherfucker, man, was like, it was a hard task. You know, it was a hard task, man. So it did a lot of damage.
It's not just all the hard training,
no,
but it's also the mind.
The mind, because think about it, man. When you're under stress, that hip flexor, that psoas muscle, which is attached to your T12, that's the only muscle that attaches your lower body to your upper body. And that's the muscle, that's your fight or flight. Whenever you get nervous or scared or something like that, that motherfucker was tightened up. I mean, your whole body is. I lived in that like almost fetal position in my mind for so many years. So I was always under this like tight neck, tension fucking guy. But I walked around like I'm some cool, here's my new hairstyle, pants are sagging. I'm a cool dude, man.
Right.
But that was
Putting
not
on that
me.
costume.
The costume wore every day.
Yeah.
Got tired of wearing that motherfucker, man.
Next costume I want you to be in is a jiu-jitsu gi with a white belt on.
I'm gonna send you a picture, man. I got it.
I know you're
gonna send you a
gonna.
picture.
I know you're gonna, because I already planted that seed.
I got it. It's
I know
on.
it's bouncing around in your head right now.
It is.
I'm gonna set it up. Nashville. I know there's some places out there. Nashville. Holler at me.
Oh, trust me, they will.
I'm sure they will. We'll find you a spot. We'll find you a spot. Listen, man, this book is fucking fantastic. I'm halfway in. I can't wait to finish it. And just thank you. Thank you for the inspiration. Thank you for being so honest and expressing yourself. I appreciate the fuck out of you,
Joe,
brother.
appreciate you, brother. Thanks again.
Thank you. Bye, everybody.
Man, thanks a lot, brother.
That was great.
Thank you so much.